Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Jackleg preachers.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Information is power. Information is power. Information is power.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Information Man Show. Welcome to the program. Most definitely.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth.
What's up, everybody? Peace. What's up, everybody? Peace. What's up? Thank you for your patience. Welcome to the Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
Woo! What's up, everybody? Peace to you. Thank you for joining the program today. I hope everybody is doing well. Let me make some adjustments right now, real quick. I'm noticing something. I want to make sure that if you can hear me, let me adjust my sound a little bit in my system. If you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat room. I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me. The sound is coming through nice and strong. I appreciate everybody that's here, that's watching, whether you're watching in Facebook or Twitter, Twitch, wherever I'm streaming at right now. This should be, this will be a replay for those of you that will be watching this show on Roku TV. On Roku TV, I'm a part of the BS3 network, and we're on Facebook. We're on Roku TV in particular, and on that, I'm on the Sunday live package on Roku TV. So if you've got that package at home, you can watch this show live on Roku TV right on your cable. And let me hit a few buttons here because I want to say peace and love to Brother Ben out there bringing me aboard that family. We have sports on the BS3 network. We have relationship talk. We have religious hour on there. It's funny, I'm talking about religion today, given what I'm about to lay on you tonight. But we have a lot of different programming on there and I'm just a part of the programming there that you're going to love. And I just want to hit this real quick.
They call me.
That's not the one I want to use. I want to use that one.
You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
All right.
BS3 Network. Changing the way you watch TV.
All right, everybody. So those of you that will watch this on the replay, I appreciate you. And this Sunday, I got a hell of a show coming up. I got a couple of good shows coming up the next two Sundays, but this one I'm going to be interviewing the brothers over at the Great Black Detox. We're going to talk about black health. I got some guys, a doctor. I've got some folks that's going to blow your wig off with the type of information we need to be hearing as black people when it comes to our health, products that we shouldn't be using, things that impact you, especially if you are a woman and there are certain things that are impacting you in that personal manner. Men as well. We're going to get into it. Nutrition, proper exercise, but the things that we are putting in our body that's hurting us. How do we detox ourselves from the things that we're living in this world? So the Great Black Detox will be here on Sunday at my normal time, 2 o'clock Western time, 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern time. So be up on that. The following week after that, I'll be doing I've got people keep talking about what's going on in California with reparations. I got the people that's involved in it, the people that are involved in it deeply that I've been involved with, and they're coming to my show so that we can knock out all the BS about reparations and what the reparation bill means in California and what it could mean for everybody across the country. So I've got the people who have been working on it intimately, not someone from the outside, just talking from the outside, but people who have got their foot on the ground intimately with the crafting of this bill that are going to be on this show come next Sunday. So I definitely want to, I'm looking forward to that. And I want to thank everybody for coming over. And I want to give a big fat clap to everybody in the chat.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
That's right. And I want to hit this for everybody in the audience. So this is a very sensitive issue, ladies and gentlemen.
Jackleg preachers.
I'm going to talk about as best I can because I did some research and I know there are other people that have been talking about this on the YouTube streets and social media that have done some videos. I want to say shout out to Sticks and Stone. They had the interview with Bishop, if you can even call him a bishop, Bishop Dwight Reed, his niece. She had a few choice words to say about her uncle. I want to say shout out to Janice Hilton. She is a YouTuber on YouTube. I had a chance to look at some of her videos, and I'm going to, I believe in giving credit where credit is due. I am going to give information that I have gathered by doing my own research as well to make sure that what is being said on YouTube is based in some facts. And I want to say that Janice Reed came with facts on her channel. She did great research, and the research that I did backed up what she was talking about, along with the various articles that are out there. So I have a laundry list of things that I jotted down in my notes, and I got my notes right here. I'm going to go through them step by step. I want participation in the chat room for people to give their opinions about this. If you have heard about the situation, he's not in jail. He has not been arrested, but you have a 63-year-old man. Let me put some receipts up here. This man right here, Bishop Dwight Reed of the Christian Apostle Temple. Sounds like some Jim Jones type stuff. The Christian Apostle Temple Church in Des Moines, Iowa. This is in the state of Iowa. Let me give you a quick breakdown of the makeup, the black makeup of this particular state or Iowa when it comes to the black community. So according to the most recent ACS, which is a radical composition of Des Moines, was white. So 75% of the population in Iowa, let's just get to it, 75.75% is white. Black or African American population in Des Moines, Iowa. Excuse me, because I said that other word wrong the last time, is about 11.36%. So 11.36% of black people live in Iowa, believe it or not. And the majority of black people that live in the state of Iowa are in Des Moines. Asians comprise 6.17%. And unfortunately, what I have to tell you, too, is that a lot of the economic and social and health disparities in the state of Iowa, unfortunately, are in Des Moines, where you have a larger black population. So there's some work to get done there. Bishop Reed, a 63, if you could even call him a damn bishop. When I read through all of this today, ladies and gentlemen, I was very, very angry. I know this is YouTube, so I got to censor myself a little bit. 63-year-old Pastor Dwight Reed married his 18-year-old child. Let me put something on the screen because after doing research, and I got to give it to Janice Hilton if she's out there. This is a sister. Check out her channel. He married his 18-year-old church member whose parents he had counseled. He had counseling sessions. He was counseling her family through their divorce. Her mother, her father. It is alleged that the pastor said that he had eyes on her since she was age 14. I want to take you down this journey with me. I want everybody to examine that picture in the middle. If you can see, and I think I got to give this to Janice Hilton on her channel. She made this observation, but all of us can make this observation. When you look at him standing next to Miss Joy, by law, she's Joy Reed. Miss Jordan, let me correct that. Miss Jordan. Look at her in that white dress. Look at the stomach area. Doesn't it look like she is pregnant? There's the rumor has it that he purposely made sure he got married to her. Maybe because this is alleged. This has not been completely proven, but there are chances that this man may have impregnated her prior, and it's supposed to be a bishop, prior to marrying her. That maybe the reason why he also married her because he had bumped her up with a baby on the way. There's also statements, and I'm going to play for you today, from his niece, that he was in a rush to get married. He wanted to get married. He had to get married because he wanted a male heir. Apparently, Mr. Reed, as you see on there, apparently this man has quite a few kids out there in the world. Oh, I'm going to break it down to you just like Janice Hilton did on her channel. She did great research. My research followed her research, and I found that everything that she said was exactly spot on from the research that I did. So I got to give her definitely credit because she was one of the first amongst many people who put out videos. And I got to give Let Me See Your Transcript. She did a video. She's been following this story as well on her channel with videos, and I've got videos. I got videos for you. So I want to say shout out to Let Me See Your Transcript. She's been following this, and she says she was glad to see that other people are talking about this. It hasn't really catched on a lot with mainstream media. Do I like to have to talk about a black man like this or black people in this way? No, I don't. But wrong is wrong and right is right. He's 63 years old. Yes, she's 18. And yes, that's legal age to be married, but it ain't legal age to have a drink, go to a club. She's not even past 25 years of age when your brain does not fully develop until you're at least after 25 years of age. That's facts. I work in mental health. You've got, and I've seen this on YouTube, I've seen people talking like this. You've got men out here who have a thirst and a desire for young women that will tell you what the best time to catch them would be at 18, 17, whatever. All that is borderline. And I know in this country, before somebody comes in here and writes on this video or comes in the chat room saying, well, info in other states you can get. I know that in other states you can actually get married. There's things on the law. Just because you can marry someone when they're young, super young, don't still make it right.
Tell the truth.
We already went over the R. Kelly situation and the foolishness that he was getting into. And I couldn't believe I had black men, I had black women too, come up on my panel and try to make excuses for R. Kelly's. Now, although this man married her, she was a student in his school. He was a dean of a school. He admitted by witness accounts, family members, I think it was his niece. There's another young lady who put out information on Facebook by the name of Jasmine, who has firsthand account where this man said that he had been watching her since she was 14 years old, where he had come out and admitted that he waited for 4 years before he could marry her. What is a grown man? So if she was 14 years old, that means that Bishop Dwight Reed was a 59-year-old man. What is a 59-year-old man who's supposed to be a dean of a school doing, lusting and looking at young ladies? This is how he justifies it. See, there's a problem with the black church in America today. I'm sorry. I'm going to ruffle some fingers. I'm going to step on some toes of people out there that are religious, but I'm sorry. We got problems. I can make the argument that one of the worst things that could have happened to black people was the black preacher. I didn't say religion, nothing wrong with religion, but it's the institution of religion. It's not real. Let me correct what I'm saying here. Belief in God is not the problem. A belief in God is not the problem. It's the institution of the church that's the problem. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? It's not the belief in God. It is how men take the Bible and interpret it to fit their narrative, just like Jim Jones did in San Francisco, where I lived. And I had friends who lost family in that whole thing. And when as a kid, I could walk past Jim Jones Church. And it was the institution of San Francisco's leadership that caped for him, that he was able to do what he did at that time. I've got a problem because religion, belief in God, is nothing wrong with that. Spirituality is very important, but the institution of the church has been crumbling because you have pimps in the pulpit, pimps in the pulpit,
Tell the truth.
pimps in the pulpit. I'm going to say it again, whether you like it or not. You have pimps in the pulpit. You have men who go to prison, go to jail, and then they want to come out and get religious and lead a church, and they're leading a church with the same criminal mindedness that they had when they were committing crimes. Let me tell you something about Dwight Reed. He has a criminal background. This man has been in and out of jail for robbing his own family, taking money out of the church. Oh, yeah. Hands in the cookie jar. Yes, Bishop Reed. He's been looking at Jordan since she was 14 years old, ladies and gentlemen. This is a problem. And his congregation I'm going to say the name of the church, his congregation at the Christian Apostle Temple, they're riding with this man. Oh, he's defiant all the way. I'm going to play you video of him calling out all of his opposed people who are against him. Now, did he break a law by marrying an 18-year-old? No. But he married a child. Oh, by the way, let me bust your bubbles with this one, ladies and gentlemen. This man This man, Reed, where you see her sitting on his lap. This man has been married multiple times. This man, I'm going to say it again, has been married multiple times. She makes his fourth wife. And he has a history. He has a criminal background, in and out of jail for various fraudulent behavior, lifting money from the church. You've got all kind of stories about preachers, these jack-a-leg. I'm going to say it again. These jack-a-leg preachers, ladies and gentlemen.
Preachers.
Say it again.
Jack-leg preachers.
These jack-a-leg preachers who are robbing the church blind while telling you what you need to do. Here is a man who was unqualified to counsel anyone. Put this on the screen. There she is in his lap in the wedding dress. I'm going to say it again. Rumor has it she was probably already pregnant. Look at the other picture. You can see a bump in the stomach. This man counseled her father and mother when they were going through a divorce. This man had no business counseling anyone on relationships when he had already been married, not once, not twice, but 3 times a lady.
Tell the truth.
And he has very poor relationship with his own kids. This is a man that should have never been entrusted to any church. So while he was counseling her parents, he was having an eye on her. And then the other rumor has it is that he's been grooming her, ladies and gentlemen, grooming her since day one. There she is. You see the bump in the stomach. That looks like pregnancy to me, ladies. What do you think in the chat room? What do you all think? Do you think that this young lady is pregnated? If you believe that she looks like she was already pregnant, put a 1 in the chat room. This is the reason why this is very important, ladies and gentlemen, because if you marry, by marrying her, he can protect himself, because wives cannot testify against their husbands in court. He was in a rush to marry her, possibly because maybe he had already knocked her up with a baby. This man's been watching her since day one. She was 14 years old. He already said this. Let me tell you what he said. Let me tell you what this man said about this young lady that you see on the screen here. This so-called jack-a-leg preacher.
Jack-leg preachers.
He said, this is how the preachers like this justify their effery. This is why you got to watch out for churches where you have preachers that interpret the Bible from their point of view. Many people read the Bible, but many people don't understand the Bible. This man used the religious doctrine that he's been putting on everybody else to justify marrying this young lady, because he claimed that at age 14, that God had already told him when he saw her as a young girl in his school where he was dean of, that God Almighty told him that that's your wife right there, Bishop. See, how you going to bring God into it? What does God has to do with a man's worldly desires and weak flesh? If you want to get biblical about it, the Bible talks about that, how we will be weak for the flesh, for the body, sex and stuff. No. See, this is the thing. I have a problem with people that every time they do something right or wrong, anytime that they do anything, they try to bring God into it and say, well, God told me to do it. Well, God is the reason why I did. Just like Umar Johnson blaming God for reason why he doesn't have HVAC at that abandoned buildings in Wilmington, Delaware. Everybody want to bring God into it. No, God has nothing to do with your decision making, Bishop Reed, because Bishop, you've been watching her since the day she graduated from your school. There she is. Look how young she is. She's young enough to be his daughter. Not only daughter, but she's young enough to be his granddaughter, let alone a wife. That's the day of the graduation of the school. Here she is on the school. Here he is. She's the class of 2020. Hell, she's young enough to be my daughter. I'm 52 years old. I don't want no parts of being in a relationship or marrying an 18-year-old. Come on now. What do you have in common with her, Bishop Reed, other than you want her flesh? He wants her womb because he wants to impregnate. He's already impregnated her because his goal was to rush and get married. You see, in the right corner of this brochure of the graduation, the class of 2020, there's Miss Jordan Goodland right there, second young lady. And then you have the two guys and then another young lady. She was part of that class. That means he's been having his eye on her since 59 years old. What is this man of this age doing with a young lady of this age? Hypocrisy. What's up, everybody? We got Lady T Speaks, Black Anonymous. Thank you for sending me the email to do this particular stream. Lady T Speaks, it's good to see you. Dream, it's good to see you over here. Tiffany Jackson, great to see you over here. Miss Kim, good to see you over here. And Lady 747. I want to know, Mr. Pirate Brain, good to see you here. I want to know, do you approve of this? The Honorable Nordstrom is in the house. Thank you for being here. RY, good to see you. The Faith Factor, good to see you. He's been grooming her, Faith Factor, for a long time. He's been watching her since she was a child. I'm going to say it again. He was counseling her mother and father when they were going through a divorce. So that means he's been watching her since she was a child. He held back and waited till she was 18. And as soon as this young lady turned 18, he married her. Now, he justifies it by saying, hey, I've broke no laws. Just because you didn't break any laws don't make it right. Just like I told people when I went over the R. Kelly situation, you had everybody trying to justify that. No. There is no justification for a man of this age to be using God as his excuse for why he was lusting over a 14-year-old who later is now become an 18-year-old, which he has all of a sudden impregnated. So the question is, if it takes 9 months, ladies, y'all know this better than I do. If it takes 9 months for a woman to bear a child to term, when did Bishop Dwight Reed impregnate this woman? And this is the crazy thing about it, ladies and gentlemen. His family didn't even know anything about this. They found out about it on Facebook. I'm going to say it again, on Facebook. Bishop Dwight Reed, a Christian Apostle Temple and Denmark, Iowa, is alleged to have groomed Jordan before marrying her after she turned 18. In early March of 2022, a post made by Facebook user Jasmine Christian Fielder began to make its way around the internet. After the post was brought to our attention, we spoke with Jasmine to get a better understanding of her claims. Jasmine, a former member of the church, stated that she has first-hand knowledge of the predatory behavior, that takes place in the church. She also alleges that Bishop Dwight Reed, young wife Jordan Goodland Reed, is only one of many girls, ladies and gentlemen, many. She's only one of many young women who have been groomed to become wives of older men in the church. So what we got in this church is a situation where you have young women being preyed upon by older men, preying on these younger girls. Reed has been married 3 times. This makes her 4th. He has several children who don't mess with him. Reed has been in and out of prison for taking money from the church and also taking money from his own family. This man should never be a pastor of a church with that type of background. I'm going to go over it some more. There he is with his mother, and wait till I tell you what he did to his mother. What he did, he had power of attorney. He's a slick son of a bitch. You do, ladies and gentlemen, as this story has picked up, you do have other bishops now, other clergymen, black clergymen who are coming out and speaking out against Bishop Dwight Reed. Now, I really shouldn't be calling him a bishop because of what he did, but I'm emphasizing that he's a bishop. It should be emphasized because this is supposed to be a man of the church. And then you wonder why people don't want to go to church. You wonder why you see more women in church than you see men in church. Because a lot of us brothers out here have already figured out the game. We go into a church, we look at these slick back, pig skin eating, chitlins eating, Kentucky Fried Chicken preachers.
Jackleg preachers.
If y'all wondering why when you go to church, you don't see that many men in the church and you see mostly elderly and mostly women, because we as men, we operate on logic and we can see con games coming a mile away. And when we see that a preacher is running game, we get the hell out of that church. And then what happens is you could even look at the church right now. Look at the back of him, the choir, what have you, is made up of mostly women. And so then what happens is these women are preyed upon in the church by these old, as Jason Black says on his program, you got to watch out for these old niggas. You got to watch out for these old niggas. You got to watch out for these old Negroes, because they're the only ones left in the church when the young ones, we leave. Because we see the con game. So then these old preachers and these old Negroes in the church, now they're left in there to try to pray. They're not going after the women their age. They're creeping up on the women that are old enough to be, young enough to be their grandchild or great grandchild. And then y'all wonder why people don't believe in the institution of religion. Belief in God is a must. Belief in something is a must. But a belief in religion, organized religion, may be one of the worst things that could have happened to black people when it came to the pimping preacher. Understand what I'm saying? I'm talking about when it comes to the pimping preacher. We got preachers and the pimps in the pulpit, impregnating people in their congregation, messing with women in their congregation, and they should be held accountable. This man should be held accountable. You can't tell me that somebody can justify this. I got more juicy stuff for you, ladies and gentlemen. Bear with me. Bishop Reed has a history of grooming young women. He's been married 3 times and she's the 4th wife, as I said before. Bishop Reed was originally counseling her parents. As I said before, they got a divorce. And while he was counseling them, he had his eye on Jordan. Bishop Reed stated that God told him that she was his wife. Once again, like I said, what these dudes do is when they're these religious pulpit pimps, they use the religion to bamboozle people. They know that black people are the most religiously oriented folks in America. They know we believe in Jesus. They know we believe in God. So they play off of what we already believe so that they can justify their old man predatory feelings and lust. And they're able to justify it under the guise of this is what God told me to do. How do we know what God told him to do? The last time I checked, it's not like God has a telephone where he dials your number 24567. Hey, Bishop Dwight Reed, what's up? Is this Bishop Dwight Reed? Because you know if God gonna speak to you, you're gonna have a strong black man's voice. Is this Bishop Dwight Reed? I'm God. Bishop. Listen to God speak to you. Bishop, I believe that a young lady in your school, in your church, who's 14 years old, Bishop, yes, Bishop, I want you to bewed her, impregnate her, marry her, Reed. Wait till she's 18 years old. This is God speaking to you. Reed. Okay, so it ain't like God got a cell phone and he dialing your number and saying, yeah, go hit. That's BS. That's just what they use to justify their predatory desires, behaviors, to take advantage of young girls in the church that they can groom, that they can take advantage of. I'm going to repeat this again. Reed was 59 years old when he had this revelation from God looking at a 14-year-old. Something has got to be sick about that. Oh, to make matters worse, ladies and gentlemen, you may ask yourself, well, how was he able to marry her without the family's consent? With the family's consent or without the family. This is what happened. The mother of Sister Jordan, this young lady, the mother did not approve of this marriage. The mother did not want this marriage. But the father, my God, man, my God, the father, I'm embarrassed to have, as a black man, I'm embarrassed to have to even say this. The father gave Reed the blessing. A father allowed a 63-year-old black man who had been married previously and it didn't work out, has a history of messing around. This is another thing. He has a history of messing around with underage girls from state to state. Did y'all hear what I said? From state to state. He has a criminal record. And a black man is going to give his daughter to a man with that background, a man that's old enough to be her grandfather, maybe even great grandfather. Make that make sense, ladies and gentlemen. Make that make any kind of sense. Angelica's in the house. Thank you for being here. Bay is in the house. RYT Kelly's in the house. Harlem Speaks. I appreciate everybody who's coming to the chat room to join. This is unbelievable, to say the least. I haven't even gotten to the rest of it yet. Bishop Reed, as I said before, was the dean of his school. As I said before, her father approved the marriage of him walking her down the aisle. That's crazy. That's goofy. That's nuts. And I said it again, the congregation has been bamboozled. They have a cult-like personality. Reason why I can say this, because his niece in the interview, and I'm going to play both the video portion of the interview from Sticks and Stones. Check out the channel. It's a new brother on YouTube who has a channel called Sticks and Stones. Give him some support. Check him out. Sticks and Stones, who had the interview with her. I'm going to play a small portion of that. I'm going to play some audio from the interview as well. She said that the church and the members in the church have a cult-like personality. That means Reed's been operating on their minds like a cult leader. The Christian Apostle Church in Des Moines, I keep saying that word wrong, Des Moines, Iowa, where you have about 11.6% black population. That's where the majority of black people live at in the state of Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa. Christian Apostle Temple Church members approved of his union with this girl. 18 years old. You don't know nothing at 18 years old. You still wiping the milk from under your nose. You still don't know what it is to be a grown woman yet, or even a grown man. And see, I'm going to say this, and I know people out there are not going to like what I'm saying. This is how these predators work. Like this so-called bishop. They like to prey on the underage girls because there's a control factor there. If I get them young, I can control them. See, I can't control the older women. I can't control the women my age. I can't control other women because those women are not going to submit to me unless I am able to qualify myself. So let me go for the underage girls who don't know nothing about me, don't know my baggage that well. I can impress them with the things that I have more than I can impress older women that have been down the road before, who may know all the game that I'm going to be telling them out of my mouth that the young lady won't be prepared to know game for. So let's prey on the younger women, because their excuse that they will use to you, and you hear it on YouTube, is that, well, the younger women will be more acceptable to my program. The younger women will do what I want to do, and they don't have the baggage that older women have, and their bodies are more shapely. They're not as wrinkled, and I can have children. I get that. It is true that as a man, you want a woman that is attractive, body's in good shape. You want to get women at their best baby bearing years when starting a family. But damn it, Reed, you 63 years old and already had children already. You already had your opportunity, not once, not twice, but 3 times a lady. And you blew it. And you're also a selfish bastard because you impregnate her and you're 63 years old, and there's a high chance that that child, you won't be able to grow up and see that child become a full adult because you having babies Past your damn prime. I got some other juicy news for you. For those out there who think I'm playing around. Through the research, and I'm going to shout out again, Janice Hilton. She did a great job on her channel. I want to shout out Sticks and Stones, a new channel on the rise here on YouTube. The explosive breaking news that you're going to hear right now. Here it goes.
Information is power.
This is about telling the truth and shaming the devil.
Tell the truth.
And Bishop Reed is a devil. Another report on this man's background. Oh, it gets nastier. Bishop Reed has been accused of molesting other girls in other states and all kind of area codes. I'm going to say it again. Bishop Reed has been accused of molesting other girls in other area codes. And this fool has a nerve to have a television show for his ministry. Bishop Dwight Reed watch on Sundays at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time and 11:30 a.m. Central Time. Hell no. Nobody should be watching him. Hell no. Turn off. Listen to me, folks out there. Turn your televisions off from Bishop Reed. Do not watch him at 11:30 Central Time. Do not watch him at 12:30 p.m. Central Time. Find yourself another bishop who ain't got this kind of record. So when Reed was molesting the other, allegedly being accused of molesting girls in other states, Reed is a predator. Allegedly. Reed has been putting his hands in his eyes, allegedly, on other girls in other states. I talked about his criminal history. Let me give you a little taste of that more in detail. Bear with me, folks. I know people are in the chat room. I want to shout people out, but I want to stay on point with this information because it's so very, 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 very important. And let me put something in here. Let me look at this and see what's going on in the chat room. We've got this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into my other system, pull what people are saying up on the screen. So hear what I'm saying, folks. He has a history, at least he has been allegedly accused of molesting other girls in other states. We've got the Faith Factor who says a woman who has tasted independence and knows herself would go for a men like this. Is more firm than someone who has yet to take control of their own life. Yeah, Faith, he can have influence, obviously, on younger women who don't know any better. Older women who have been around the block a little bit more, who have heard all the game that a man can say at her, who have been through a lot, they are a little bit less susceptible to the game that Reed is running. And I'm going to play you his response to the criticism that he's getting. He's very arrogant, very narcissistic. He's on a video that I'm going to play for you talking about how the kids love him. Y'all hear what I'm saying? He's saying, I ain't done nothing. I ain't molested you. The kids love me. This is what Reed's saying. This is how Reed is talking. Yeah. Women condone this, unfortunately. Yeah, there are women in that church, and you're going to see it on the video, that are with Reed 110%. Reed's criminal background. It reads like this. Bishop Dwight Reed has a history of stealing money from the church. I'm going to repeat these things again. Stealing from his family, from his family's estate. His father was well known. That was his father's church. He was well known, well respected in the community. But it looks like his son is not a chip off the old block. Let me tell you what Reed did to his mother. Let's show you this kind of character that he has. This is supposed to be a man of the cloth, a man of God, so we think. Bishop Reed made his, this is what happens. This is why black people have to write a will. When you don't write a will, it creates all types of havoc, all kind of problems. His father didn't have a will, so Reed had power of attorney over his mother. He put pressure on his mother and made her do this. Check this out. This is before Reed even had full control of the church, but he had a plan, folks. Reed made his mother turn over over his father's estate, the family estate, and his other siblings didn't get anything out of this. He cheated them all out of it. So he convinced his mother, because he had power of attorney over her, to turn over the estate, his father's estate, guess what? To the church. Can I get a witness? He turned his family's estate over to the church, stealing it from his family and giving it to the church for guess how much? Guess how much he did this for? Unbelievable. Jack-a-leg preacher.
Jack-leg preachers.
For $1. Do you understand me? $1. He sold it to the Christian Apostle Temple Church. Stay away from that church. For $1. Then, when he got back control of the church, he convinced his cult-like followers in that church that he had control over. He had them bamboozled. He convinced them, once he got full control over the church and got back in control of things, he convinced the church members to sell the estate back to him for guess how much, folks? Guess how much, folks? $1. I'm not lying to you. So he convinced his mother, who later on passed away, manipulated her to sell it to the church, which he already knew what his plan was in advance, that he was going to get it back. So he convinced her to give it to the church, and then convinced the church to give it back to him and for he could have full power. He's got control of all proceeds, money, and housing. I think they've got a house or a mansion or whatever. Yeah, they got a mansion. He's in control of everything. His family, his siblings got nothing. Reed ran a con game on his mom, then turned around, ran a con game on the church because he had them bamboozled. Because he's the pastor. He's the bishop. Let me say that. Once his mother died, ladies and gentlemen, check this out. Hell, it's a trip how research can really bring this stuff out. Once his mother died, ladies and gentlemen, and shout out to Janice Hilton, Sticks and Stones channel, and Janice Hilton did a great job on their videos. Once his mother died, the bishop, like I said, when we talk about the church giving it to him, he had to get them to draw up the papers and have him sign his name on the documents, legal documents, to get full control. He convinced them to allow him to get it all signed under his name. Everything signed under his name. Full control and narcissism personality. This is a damn shame. Let me play some of this video by his niece.
And during that time, so I entered law school in Louisiana in 2017. So then we kind of kept in contact. He would give me like advice about like keeping my head afloat, things like that. But his intention was for me to like go back to Iowa and like basically work for him as an attorney and do things he needed me to do, kind of thing. Like he would
fair use,
buy me a
fair
law,
use.
this and that.
This
so
is
it
fair
was,
use.
The relationship was pretty good. I mean, he came to my
Fair
graduation.
use for commentary. Fair use.
I only had 4 tickets at that time because of COVID. Because he was one of the people, he's like, I'll support you, you know, in your endeavors, whatever they are. So, in a sense, I kind of feel like I was groomed in a way, or tried to be pre-groomed, but for like scamming and like money. So I can totally see how he would be grooming Jordan to try to be his wife on some like weird stuff for his personal agenda. But I mean, we have a pretty good relationship. He has a pretty good relationship with the rest of the family. But now it's like totally broken. And like he didn't mention this to anybody. And so it's just like that right there, that's how you know you're wrong.
Yeah, that's real. So I mean, you kind of mentioned it, but the people like in his circle, like the people at that church or whatever, what's the mindset over there for them to, you know, feel like this is okay, like not really challenge it or just kind of going on with it, you know? Like, do you have an idea?
I really don't know. And that's kind of why, it's so hard for us as a family, because the people who surround Dwight, they're very cult-minded. So it's
See
hard
what I
for
said,
us
folks?
to
Cult-minded.
penetrate them to even figure
That's
out
the
what's
niece of
really
Dwight
going on, like what
Reed,
real
the
dirt
bishop,
is,
the niece.
and what they even really think. And even if they were scared or like didn't agree with it or things like that, are they going to say anything? Like, we don't know. And then also, too, they're so loyal to Dwight. It's like they might tell us one thing and then run back and tell him everything we said. So we don't really know. But from my understanding, more and more people are starting to see that this is not right, and are starting to speak up within the church. And I just hope that more do.
Okay. Well, shoot, I hope they do too, because this is, I guess, like, you know, what's done is done is done. So, like moving forward, what are some things that you guys as a family would like to see happen in this situation?
In this situation, I can't really speak to the rest of my family, but I'm pretty sure that they would also agree with this. So I personally, though, I want to see accountability. That's what I want. And not only for him, you know, predatorizing young women, but also there are a lot of unethical and illegal financial things going on, not only with Dwight, but within the church under his control. People need to be held accountable for that. There are church members. The church has a legal counsel signing off on, you know, different documents and things. And then now we have this, basically a child marriage. So it's kind of like, what else is going on there? And where's the accountability? So that's what we want to see. We want to see accountability, and we want...
Okay, everybody, let me get back up here. That's the video footage that I'm gonna remove that video footage. Now because I didn't want to play the brother's whole thing. I play a little bit of it. That's fair use for analysis purposes and criticism purposes, to be able to decipher what's going on. So that is the niece of Bishop Dwight Reed. I'm using the name Bishop because I want to emphasize that he's a religious man doing this. Supposed to know better than this kind of stuff. Let me play. This is right. This is an audio. I'm going to pull up my sound for you all to hear. She's going to go more into his deeds. Listen to this.
The other property that the church has buildings on,
Uh-oh.
he owns all those. That was a little fishy to me, so I looked into the Polk County land records, because when people die, you know, estates have to be distributed equally. And my grandfather lives in the project government housing in Des Moines, Iowa. Something wasn't clicking to me. And then I knew Dwight had just popped back up, and I also knew that my papa, before his health started to seriously decline, had banned Dwight from the church, took him out of his will and everything. So I'm like, how the hell does he have everything?
So check this out, ladies and gentlemen. So her grandfather, which would be Dwight's father, knew his son was no good, took him out of the will. Now, let me correct this. I thought there was no will, but the niece is saying that there was some type of, no. Let me correct what I'm saying. She's saying that her papa, that's right, her father was taken out of the will by Dwight, her uncle, because he got control of the estate through manipulating his mother, and may she rest her soul. She's no longer here. He manipulated his mother to sell it to the church for $1. The church sold it to him for $1, and he convinced them to let him sign over everything in his name. Now he controls everything, and her father, which would be Reed's brother in the family, has been cut out of everything that they would have gotten in the estate. And this is the reason why should be a lesson for black folks and everybody out there. This is the reason why you need to write a will. You need to get a living trust. You need to get stuff written down. You need to have your family members write stuff down, document it, get it notarized, and get it legaled, so that when this happens, you know what your family's members want. Now, you know that anybody can contest a will, but the living will is more stronger. Let's continue with the rest of this audio.
Yeah.
The land records indicate that, so my great-grandfather died first. My uncle then becomes power of attorney for my great-grandmother, Willa Mae Reed.
Oh, that's what I was talking about.
Shortly before she dies, she signs over all her properties to Christ Apostolic Temple Incorporated.
Just like I said.
For the amount of $1.
$1, just like I said,
so
everybody.
It's as if she donated everything she had to the church.
Reed ran game.
Which, if that's what her will was, that is fine. That's her will. That's what her desire was when she died. However, Dwight signed all these documents for her as her power of attorney. So, okay, fine. A little weird, but fine. She dies, and then a month after she dies, the church does the exact same thing that my grandmother did before she dies. But, so they transfer all that property to Dwight in consideration of $1. So it's like they gave him the property back. So when my grandmother died, it looked like she died with nothing, so there was nothing to distribute to his heirs. Then all of a sudden, he gets everything back. Everything's in his name.
Wow.
Yeah. And lawyers have to be involved. Notaries have to be involved. Witnesses have to be involved. The Polk County land records have all that. They have all the printout. I mean, you can print it out. You can look at it. And the people who are signing these things are church members that have been there for a while.
Of Apostolic.
Yes.
Sheesh.
Yes.
Man, this story just has so many red flags. So many red flags.
And
That's
like,
straight.
yeah, and so it's like he needed to quickly find someone he could manipulate into quickly marrying him, one, and quickly having babies with him too. Because he wants a son so bad, because he has broken relationships with his 2 daughters. And he wants to keep all that money that he stole and all the property that he stole for himself and keep it within his little confine. of his
Okay,
little
okay.
weird family that he's trying to master manipulate.
Right.
Told y'all.
That's why.
coming
So
from
you
the niece.
said married and kids. So is she having a kid?
I didn't tell y'all a lie. This is coming from the niece, from a family member, a niece who says that she had a very good relationship with her uncle, Bishop Dwight Reed. She's saying that the family didn't even know that the man had got married in the way he did, that was fishy. They found it on Facebook. All the things I said about how he got his hands on money, how he fandangled the church, how he maneuvered to get control of the estate, used his mama, everything. She says he's a manipulator. He's a groomer. He tried to run the game on her, too, because he wanted her to be his lawyer so he can run scams through his niece who has a law degree. I wouldn't lie to you, folks. This is coming right from the niece. And if y'all want to see the visual part, or the full visual part of this, I showed you a portion of it earlier. Go to Sticks and Stones. That's a new YouTube channel. The brother's got about 223 subscribers. I'm going to get him on this show as well. I left them a message. And I want to say shout out to Sticks and Stones. Shout out to Janice Hilton, who also did a video on this. Shout out to Let Me See Your Transcript. She's done a video on this as well. She's been doing a good job on her channel covering this as well. Let Me See Your Transcript has done an excellent job covering this story as well. I want to give her credit as too as well. But there are people out there that are doing a great job getting the word out about this situation. And if you go to Sticks and Stones on YouTube, you'll be able to see the full video portion that I gave you a small clip of. I didn't want to show the whole brother's video. I want to be more respectful. So I gave you a small slice of it. Now I'm playing some audio. Here we go again.
Yes.
Like right now. She's right now.
Yes. That's actually what my dad and I were talking about this morning, because my dad, I believe someone close to Dwight called my dad and told him that she was pregnant. And then when my dad...
All right.
Dad and I were talking about everything this morning, he's like, he's wondering if she was pregnant before they got married.
How far along is she?
We don't know.
Remember I brought that up?
But I guess we'll find out when they have.
Let me stop that right there.
I mean, you can't really.
Now, the niece said, and I tell no lies on this broadcast tonight. The family says that they believe, and I said that earlier, that she might have already been prior pregnant to him marrying her. Once again, ladies, you know this a lot better than I would as a man. When you look at that young lady in that white dress, you look at the stomach area, does she look like she may be pregnant? If you believe that she may be pregnant, and this is a picture that was taken way after the fact, meaning they're married. That's a married couple picture. But they believe that she was pregnant already prior to this. Already prior. And I'm going to say it again. You know, if a man marries a woman young like this and people have questions, the wife they can't take her to court and ask her questions like, did he impregnate you before you were 18 years old? They can't do that, because once you're married legally, you can't have a wife testify against a husband. So Reed is calculating. He's slicker than a pack of Snicker bars. Ladies in the chat room, guys, whoever, thank you for being here. Clap to you all. Can you please take a vote right now if you believe that Miss Jordan is in fact pregnant on that picture? I want you to hit a 1 in the chat room if you think this woman is pregnant. If you're not sure, then hit a 2. But if you believe so in your heart of heart, I want you to hit a 1 and hit it now. If you do not believe that she looks pregnant, then you hit a 2. Let's see what we have in the chat room, shall we? Okay, Natural is saying 1. RY is saying 1. Angel is Carwell is saying 1. Jay is saying 1. Gilman is saying 1. Lady T Speaks is saying 1. Everybody is saying 1. And there's a sister in here. I want to say thank you for coming over. Let me give you a clap. She says it looks Look at how it pulls. She's saying, look at how the dress pulls. See, I don't know this stuff. The ladies would know this more than I would. Look at how it pulls. Enter blessing, blood sport. Everyone is saying a 1 in here. Everyone is buying the theory that she looks pregnant, and even the niece that you've been listening to said that the family believes that Reed impregnated this woman before the facts. Angelica says also the sidestep the property taxes as well info. That was a lick. Yeah, he's slick. The man is slick. This is your clergyman. This is your man of God operating like this. Let's go back into the rest of what she's saying
about that. So when that baby come out is when that baby come out.
Yeah.
So that is wow. So my lesson is, you know, you said you grew up in Iowa.
That's the audio on his channel. It's not my audio. The skipping is coming from his channel.
And if you did, like, what was your experience like there?
Yeah, we would go. When I was very, very little, I go to Sunday school every Sunday. You know, we would some Wednesdays go to Bible studies. We would go out of town and take the big buses to church conventions and things like that. But as I got older and as my great-grandfather, Jeremiah Reed, things started to change a little bit, and it became a little weird. Even to someone who kind of grew up in the church as a little kid, you see certain things and you're like, that doesn't add up. So my dad, he's like, yeah, if you want to go to church every Sunday with your grandparents, you know, that's your choice. He's like, but I'm not really going anymore, and I'm not going to force you to go. So we kind of quit going because it got a little weird at the church.
Weird.
So they created this school, this church school where kids from the church were supposed to go. And once they created it, it was like, y'all better come here. And they created it because there were gays in public schools, kind of thing. So very strange reasoning. And also too, like, it was weird, like when I would go to the church, there'd be all these people like, oh, Brittany, and like give me hugs and kisses, and like I didn't know who the hell these people were. I'm like, why do they treat me like royalty just because I'm, you know, his great granddaughter? I'm like, I barely come to this church anymore, but it's kind of how it is. And I'm like, it's very strange.
Wow.
Sounds strange. So this school, like you said that they were basically saying like you go to the school. They were trying to get you to go to the school. And how did that school work?
That's his audio. He's got some issues with his audio.
They mentioned the school, but like that for me and like my dad, like that wasn't an option. He's very like independent and headstrong. So, but it was a thing, like it was a known thing. And there were some people who were upset, and there were some people who got kicked out of the church if they didn't go to the church school.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how the church school was set up
Tell the truth.
or run or anything. I think now they might have a whole building, but before it was just like a room. I think they used the Sunday school room that we had, which is in like the basement of like this little side building on the property. So yeah. And then it seems like too, people who go to the church school, once they graduate, they immediately turn around and get jobs somewhere within the church, whether that be, you know, actually something in the church or like as like the director of the broadcasting at AON Studios kind of thing. And they just, I guess, learn how to do that off Google. I don't know. So it's like, once you get in the church as a kid, it's like, you're kind of locked in for life.
So did Jordan go to the school?
Yes, she did. She graduated from there. He bought her a car for graduation.
He bought her a car.
He bought her a car.
There. Stop
what did
right
I
there.
get from him?
Let's stop right there. This is why you know he was definitely focused on this young lady, Jordan, who he ended up marrying. She says that after the day that she graduated, out of all the kids in this school, he decides to buy a car for her. This is the day that she graduated from the school right here. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
That she added more context to the situation, ladies and gentlemen. So on the day that she graduated, this is the actual picture of the day that she graduated from his school that he was the dean of. He, out of all the kids in the school, he gave her a car. So he was already being predatory. He was leaning, as some would say, leaning with his money, leading with his resources to sort of woo this young lady. So he buys her a car. Why would he buy her a car? Did Reed have something going on with her prior? Why would you buy a student out of all the students a car and you didn't buy anybody else a car in your family? His niece that you've been listening to speaking, who graduated from law school, college, said that he didn't buy her anything of this nature or anyone in the family a car. And he didn't buy any other students in that class a car, but he brought Jordan Reed, because that's her last name, Miss Reed, as crazy as it is, he purchased her a vehicle. What do you all think about that, ladies and gentlemen, in the crowd, in the audience out there? Isn't that explosive? Isn't that explosive? Now, two things that a man does when he buys a woman or a young lady a car. Either it's his daughter that he's buying a car, maybe his niece, maybe his wife, a grown-ass wife, or maybe he brought her that car because he already was having his eyes on her since 14 years of age and maybe even before that. And maybe he had already been talking to her and using all of his predatory skills to sway her. He certainly had the father sway. You gotta say this too. The father has to be questioned. Why would you let a grown ass man of this age marry your daughter? Or could be like Janice Hilton said on her show. Maybe the father has some predatory genes in him as well. Maybe the father is on that type of stuff as well because he gives his daughter to a man of this age. And then a man who buys her a car, that has to be very questionable. Why did you buy her a car but no one else? Unless you see her as special. Because like Bishop Dwight Reed said, he said God Almighty told him at 59 years of age that that's your wife you're looking at. According to Bishop Reed and his nonsense. Let's hear the rest of what his niece is saying before I get into the closing video tonight, which will be you listening to Reed for 7 minutes, spouse his rhetoric. Here we go.
Him for my law school graduation, nothing.
She got a car.
She got a car.
And a ring. That's
And other children graduated with her graduating class. They didn't get cars.
Uh-oh. Tell it.
That's crazy.
Yes.
That's wild, man. But
that's wild.
You know, crazy do crazy things at the end of the day. You know, I mean, it is. I mean, there's no way to put it. You know, wow. That's wild. Well, that's crazy. Any kind of last statement or and you kind of want people to know about everything that's going on, how you feel about it, how whoever feels about it. I mean, there's anything that you want to share with.
It's his audio, folks. He's got some problems with his audio that you're listening to.
I don't think so. I think I've said everything that needs to be said. I guess I would just tell more people to spread the word. Because I'm sure this is not the only incident of, people basically abusing religion as a mechanism of control. And I think
Tell the truth.
It's a damn shame, everybody. I'm going to come over and read some people's comments, and then I'm going to get into this video by Reed himself.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to this channel.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
All right. This is what I'm going to do, folks. What I want to do is I want to read a few people's messages. I might open up I'm going to open up a panel to get some of your thoughts about what you've been hearing after I play Reed's 7-minute. It won't take that long. And I see we got let me see your transcripts, who's coming in the house. Let me just say this. Check out her channel. She's been covering this very well. I've been looking from afar at let me see your transcript in which she's been putting down. I called out the other folks because they put some really good information out there. Check out Sticks and Stones in the interview that he did. I want to say shout out to him. I will soon be in contact with him, bring him on the show to give him some PR for his new channel. The man's only got 223 people over there, and I think he's got a good thing going. I want to say shout out to Janice Hilton. I know her husband. He's a member of my organization. I want to say peace to her out there. Much love. She has a great channel. She has sort of a ladies channel. She does book reviews, and they talk about the various shows on TV. She does really good work over there. Has a good channel. Channel's growing. I think she's got about 17,000 subscribers now over there. Her channel's been growing, and she has a very lovely crowd over there. And folks, I'm a mod on her channel, and she's a wonderful lady, and she did a great job as well as Let Me See Your Transcript did a great job on her video as well. I think everybody is adding their piece to the puzzle of putting pressure. And just so you, I'm not going to get out of here without letting you know that there is a petition against this man on change.org. Investigate 63-year-old pastor and school dean who married an 18 through 19-year-old girl. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste that, put that in the chat room for anybody out there that wants to join that movement, a petition against him. And they got good numbers. About 5,707 people have signed the petition against Bishop Dwight Reed. If you want to be one of those people to add your voice to the situation, let's go right ahead and put that in the chat room right now 2 times. And you can go right ahead and do what you got to do to let your voice be heard about what's happening if you don't like what's happening yourself. So that's the change.org. I'm going to put that in the chat room again. There you go. 2 times over. And that's change.org. So check that out, folks. If you want to sign that petition against Bishop Dwight Reed. So what I'm going to do is let me see your transcript. I'll give her a clap. She says, my sources have said that, let me see your transcript says that my sources have said that when her parents divorced, Jordan was upset and he was counseling her. Mom left the church and she wasn't allowed to speak with her mom, and dad is a minister. Yeah. And I agree with what you're saying. Let me see your transcripts. And what's really sad is that her father, being a minister, walked her down the aisle. He approved of it. But then, you know this, the mother probably left the scene because she never, let me tell you, the mother never approved of the wedding, but the father did. So that's another reason why there's a rip in the family structure as well. Most definitely. We've got Clark in the house saying what's up to let me see your transcripts. We've got Angelica saying seriously. That's true. It is all true, folks. This is no lie, no jive here. Let me go right here with the sake of time, because I do want to bring people on a panel to hear your thoughts for a short amount of time. Let me go right ahead and play the video. This is the video. I just thought it was fair. Let's hear both sides of this. But Reed was talking a lot of hot air in this video. You could tell he's narcissistic personality. He's all full of himself. And he's got those people in the church wrapped around his finger. And he's pushing the old preacher talk. And this is what I'm going to say it again. There is nothing with believing in God or Jesus. There's nothing wrong with having a belief in something. But when you've got preachers who are using the pulpit for their own agenda and using the name of God to define why it's okay for them to have their eye on a 14-year-old and then marry them when they're 18-year-old and be predatory like that. And then you got a father, her father, who's a minister who should know better. He's sitting up there endorsing the bullshit, and the church is endorsing the bullshit. And you wonder why you don't have more people going to church anymore. And you wonder why you don't see a lot of men in church, meaning young men in church. But you got these old Negroes in church preying on the girls. Let's go ahead and hear the rhetoric of the man himself, Bishop Dwight Pigskin and Chitlins Reed.
Now, if this was out in the streets, y'all be saying she made a come up.
See? Wait a minute. Let me stop that. I got to bring it back to the beginning. I want you, this is his rebuttal to all the criticism that he's been taking. Here we go.
The Bible says that marriage is honorable. So, if you let the devil trick you, and then somebody talking about they agree because they was molested as a child.
Damn shame.
How you think all these kids love me? I am a protector.
You have men that do what Reed is doing. He's cloaking and justifying what he does in the name of God in the church. And then he's cloaking it around. You've heard this before. I love kids. I protect kids. That's what he's saying here. And the people are feeding into the bullshit in church.
Of children.
He claims to be a protector of children.
So everybody that's connected, they know the truth. You think we have all these folks sitting up in this church? So all these folks gonna sit up here in the church and know and still stay here, you alive on the pits of hell. So today, we're going to show a video of my father. He's going to preach today. And then we're going next door and we're going to have a celebration for my father. And I don't know what kind of Reed blood some of these folk got the last name Reed. There's something wrong with them. I'm trying to figure out when I was sending you all that money every time you asked me. And all the cars I bought for graduation, I paid cash and gave it to your child. devil get in folks. Just like God uses folk, the devil uses people.
See, they're
So
100%
if you
with
trying to
him.
remove
You
me,
see?
you better talk to God, because he the one put me here.
They're 100% with him.
And
100%.
ain't nobody got no power but God.
See? You see how he uses God to cloak his trifling behavior? You see how he uses the name of God to cloak? You got a lot of preachers like that. I'm not saying all preachers, but there are preachers out here who use that. And because you have more women in church than men, they use it to bamboozle you sisters out here. And a lot of brothers, when we hear, and I'm not saying there's not sisters out there who haven't left the church, who don't have enough sense to hear BS when they hear it. But when you look at the church, it's made up of mostly women. The majority of people in this church right here are women. And these old Negroes are taking advantage, not of the women of their age in the church, but the girls who they are watching and lusting after.
See, they done sent me some stuff about the fella down in Houston running his mouth. And they say, Bishop, and I don't even
Lady
know
Be
these
Unstoppable, how you doing? Where you been? Good to see you.
folks. Here, put this out there on him. I said, no, I ain't going to do it. But I got to say this little something here today. So y'all can calm down, because y'all want to get out the gate. So I don't want y'all to get out the gate. Let me just sprinkle this and move on. But don't let the devil fool you now.
Brainwash is right. You are the devil, Reed.
And
Talking
I
about don't
wish
let the
some of
devil
y'all
fool you.
would
He
mess
is the
with
devil.
My wife, Joy. Talking about what you gonna do if you see her.
Uh-oh.
Well, you will see me on the news. Let me just tell you that right now. Talking about what you gonna do if you see her. You better walk by and say, praise the Lord.
Let me see your transcripts. That's absolutely right. He was booted out at this church at one time. And then when his father died, that's when he got himself entangled with getting control again. And he convinced and manipulated his mother to sell it to the church, then convinced the church members to sign documents giving all the estate, his family's estate, over to him. His father did not want this man in charge. But this is the problem. Let me see your transcript and everybody out there. This is why you need to have a will. It's all hot air. Thank you for being here. Miss Kim, thank you for being here. Clark, RY. This is why, Angelica, this is why we have to have wills. When you don't have a living will or some kind of trust, something legal, it allows individuals like this to take advantage of their family and others. Get back to the video. We're almost finished with this video.
That's what you better do. Because that's my wife. And she grown. She didn't need nobody to sign no paperwork for her.
Once again, he's justifying it because she's 18 years old. And yes, at 18 years old, you can get married. But that still doesn't make it right. At one point in time, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know this, in South Carolina, it was legal for a man to marry a 16-year-old girl. Matter of fact, in many states in America, they still have on the books where you can marry someone at 17 years old. Does it make it right? No. The reason why this isn't right is because this man was entrusted to this young lady as a student in his school. He groomed her, allegedly. He watched her at 14 years old and maybe younger. He called himself counseling her mother and father, yet Reed himself had been married not once, but twice, but 3 times. She makes the 4th wife. I said that earlier in the show for those of you who came in late. Reed also has a criminal background, if you did not know that. He's been in and out of jail for frauding his family, frauding the church as well. Why do you think his father got rid of him in the first place? Can I get a witness? Reed also has, for those who came in late, Reed also has a history in other states of being accused of molesting girls. There are other bishops around the country that are now waking up and realizing that this man's got to go. This is why you have a petition against him. There are some that are waking up and realizing that he is a problem. Another problem that someone that needs to be looked at with a side eye is Jordan's father. He approved of this while the mother said, hell no. There's something about the father that's not right. Bishop Reed manipulated his mother to get his hands on this church and the money and all the proceeds. Then he sets up here proudly bragging about how he created a school. You can see what he's doing, bragging about what he did for other people. That don't make it right. I don't care what you did for anybody. I don't care if Bishop Reed wiped Jesus Christ's feet. What he did was wrong, and it was allegedly predatory. The man is slicker than a $5 Snicker bar. Let's hear the rest of the rhetoric, shall we?
Now, if this was out in the streets, y'all be saying she made a come up.
Now Reed wants to use vernacular from today's time and say come up. No, this ain't about a come up. It's about you taking advantage. And you've been doing it. You've been doing it since she was young, younger than she is now.
So don't you forget the Bible say marriage is honorable.
See?
And the Bible said
which makes these type of predators dangerous, ladies and gentlemen, is because he is a bishop. He's a man of the cloth. That makes him more dangerous than your everyday predator, because a preacher is someone that we look up to, someone that we entrust to our children, family members. We ask them for blessings. We ask them for counseling. We ask them to marry us. We ask them for marital advice. We ask them, and he should not be giving anyone advice when he has failed in all of his marriages. That should, and see, the young lady being 18, she doesn't have the experience and the know-how to say, wow, that's a red flag. This man's been married 3 times and they all been young women. That's a red flag. She doesn't have the whereabout to realize the game that he's running, which is why men like Reed prey on younger women, because you want to prey on the younger women because they're naive, they're not knowing, and they're easy to convince because you got the money, you got the cars. Why the hell you think he brought her a car, right? Same thing. He's using trinkets. He's using shiny things to catch her attention. And the damn father, who ain't no damn better, he approve of it. And he's a man of the cloth. Nobody should. I want to know what church he's in so that nobody should go to either one of these churches. This guy Reed is, man, when I read through the story about this, man, I tell you folks, let's hear the rest of this. We're almost finished with this.
hypocrite.
Thank you all for being here.
So don't you forget the Bible says marriage is honorable.
He using the church and God, hiding behind the idea that marriage is honorable. Of course, marriage is honorable. But what you've been doing, Bishop, has been despicable. And you calling everybody else devils when in fact you are the devil. You are the devil in the church. Can I get an amen?
And the Bible said when you find a wife, you find favor with God, honey. I found some favor with God.
Remember I told you, he said that God told him that the 14-year-old was his salvation.
Good at night.
See, listen to him. Listen to him. We sleeping good at night.
Worrying about all these crooks.
So everybody, wait a minute. Reed has the nerve to call everyone a crook. He has a police record in and out of jail for stealing money from the very pulpit that he's speaking on, stealing money from his family, manipulating his mother over the will or the lack of there. And of course, as Let Me See Your Transcript said in the chat room, his father who ran the church did not care for Bishop Dwight Reed in the first place. And now he's setting up here on his pull pimp, this jack-a-leg, and I mean this jack-a-leg preacher.
Jack-leg preachers.
Let's hear the rest of the rhetoric.
But I felt I need to say that because somebody talking about what they're going to do if they see you. I'm telling you now, don't let the devil fool you. Because I ain't the one to play with. I get on the other side here. Wish you would. Yeah, you can be the pastor. Yeah, me. It's just too far. It's too far. You start threatening bodily harm, that's a problem. And please don't come over here because everybody in here is packing over here.
What's going on, Jay Shine? Good to see you, brother. Now he's talking about he's packing.
Come over here showing out.
All right, folks, there it is. That's the video. And so what I'm going to do is drop a couple of links in the chat room if anybody wants to come up and talk about this for a little while before I end the program tonight. Would love to get your thoughts. Let me let you know what the numbers are tonight. I took a vote in the chat room, and I want to let you know what the numbers are in the vote tonight. And it looks like 88% of you say, I said here, do you agree with Bishop Dwight Reed at 63 years old being married to an 18-year-old? And we know the story now about his treachery. And 13% of you say, yes, you have no problem with it. And 87% of you say, no, you do not agree with him being married, especially after you hear the treachery of this man's background and story and the things that he was doing when she was much younger, preying on her to a certain degree. And I know there's someone out there going to say, well, man, she ain't saying nothing against it. She not going against him. She not going into police and what have you. Well, of course, because he's groomed her. He's had influence over her since she was in school. And once again, he purchased her a car and did not give a car to any other students that graduated from his school, and has not given any graduating gifts to any of his nieces. And you heard the niece that I played tonight. So it's obvious that Reed has had a thing going with this young lady way before, and I do mean way before. Try it, buy it, and make it and sell it. Good to see you over here. Let me give you a clap. Where have you been? Where have you been? So good to see you over here. So this is the young lady that Reed has cozy up to. And I guarantee you, I can't guarantee you, but it would not surprise me if that woman is pregnant. The family, and you heard Denise say on the audio that the family believes that he already had her impregnated before they got married. And that's another reason why he got hurry up and got married, because illegally, if he was messing around with her before she was of age, then they could see her as a minor, make her testify against him. But if he marries her, now she's his wife. And even if they have evidence that he was with her when she was not 18 years old, impregnated her at that time, up until the time that she became 18 and he married her officially, because she is his wife, she could not be called to court to testify against him if there was some type of charges brought against him in this area. So, like I said, the man is slicker than a pack of Snicker bars. And we got my man here, Reese from Philly, gave me a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, brother.
Thank you for the super chat.
I appreciate that wholeheartedly. And I hope you're doing well, brother. Thank you for the super chat. We got Miss Fuller rolling. Full Roller is in the house. Miss Fuller, Full Roller is in the house. Excuse me. Thank you for being here. Let me give you a clap. Angelica, R.Y., Tiffany Jackson, lots of great people in there. I'm going to drop the link in the chat room, play a little bit of music while people decide whether they want to come up or not. I hope some folks come up so that we can have a discussion for a little while. And here we go.
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Just pulled up to the house, don't feel like getting out. I'ma just lay back and crack this window. I've been doing my best, taking a moment to.
So we started to build up our relationship more, and during that time, so I entered law school in Louisiana in 2017. So then we kind of kept in contact, he would give me like advice about like keeping my head afloat, things like that. But
I've been working all day. Can a nigga catch a break? Give a pretty brown girl her space. You can keep your bitter. I'ma make a better way. Hey, hey. Already got the world on me. Give a pretty brown girl her space. You can keep your bitter. I'ma make a better way. Hey, hey. Better way. Oh, way. Mom and dad's only daughter. Do I make you proud? Writing my life in lyrics. Do you like the sound?
Thank you for the super chat. Let me see your transcript. She says, thank you for, put this on the screen. Let me see your transcript. Says, thank you for getting this story and petition out here. Thank you. I'm going to put that petition back in the chat room in just a moment. But I did put links out for those who want to come upstairs and have the discussion. And give me 1 minute. I'll be right back to bring people on the panel. Be patient. All right, everybody, I'm back. I'm going to bring Let Me See Your Transcript upstairs with me. All right. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me see your transcripts. I've been watching you talk about this issue on your channel. When I delved into it myself personally, I was blown away by the information that I was able to dig up. And I referenced information I gathered from your channel and other people that have been talking about this. It's a damn shame. I was blown away by the fact that her father approved this, his criminal background, the fact that he's been a Rolling Stone with other young women from state to state. And this is crazy. How you doing? Let me see your transcript.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for doing the story, sharing the petition. I thought you were going to be on early this morning.
Nah, what happened is I made a mistake. I had it for 8:30 in the morning, and that was a mistake. It was supposed to be for 8:30. And then I realized I ended up not having to do some things that I had to take care of the day. So I had some time, and I changed it to the 6 o'clock time, my time, because I would be available at that time. And I also want to say this to you.
I was able to catch you then.
Right.
And I was at work this morning. I was teaching at that time, and I was like, oh, I can't watch it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad that you did catch it. And let me just say this. I got to give some credit where credit is due. It actually, to be honest with you, I noticed your channel and how you were talking about the story. That caught my attention. Your channel was the first channel that kind of caught my attention about the story. Mm-hmm. And then Black Anonymous sent me an email saying, hey, Info, you should get on this story and talk about this and give a perspective to it. And then I said, okay, I'm going to look into it. And when I looked into it, I had no idea after listening to your video how crazy this really was. And when I had a chance to read it for myself, I was like blown away. So what's going on here? You've been following this a lot longer. What is really going on here? Now you heard Reed on there being defiant about what people are saying about him, but what's going on?
Okay, so I got involved, and thank you. Shout out to Black Anonymous. I got involved because I know someone who actually used to attend the church. Oh, and to be honest, she came to me months ago, and she was like, "There's stuff happening at this church. I'm concerned. This church is a cult." And she was like, should I share the story myself? Should I go to other vloggers? And I said, well, it's your decision to make. You're very welcome to use my platform or to use your own channel or use other social media to get it out. And she had to, to make a decision because she still has people that she knows who attends this church, who is in this community, and it affects so much more than just Jordan Reed. Mm-hmm. Because she spent so many years in this church. There are other ex-members. So she made a video on TikTok months ago talking about the situation, and then I believe it was.
Is it Jack? That was a young lady who
that another vlogger, Larry Reed, had did a story, and I sent it to my friend. I said, "Hey, did you talk to Larry Reed about this issue?" And she said, "No, I did not." I said, "Oh, okay. Maybe someone else from your church or from this church talked to him." And so when she saw it, she was like, "There's other things I want to say. There's other things going on." And I said, "Well, if you want to come on my channel and you can have, you can talk about it. I'm just worried about going to other certain vloggers because I don't know what they're going to do." Plus, I was like, because she's my friend, I don't want her pain to be exploited in a way where it causes more damage than it does actually helping them. Because I want her and the others who have been hurt by this church and also Jordan Reed to get help. That's also why I did a video about religious trauma and the sources that they can get for therapy, the articles, other resources. And I've actually had other members of the church. They have actually said, hey, you know, I left this church. I don't know where to go. And I've actually tried to like give them resources to help them. Because for the most part, Christ Apostolic Temple is a cult. And there are people, it's divided, that has said that the father also ran this church like a cult. Yes, he kicked his son out because of, you know, allegedly gambling, cheating on his other wives, crime. Allegedly, he told the third wife that was in Louisiana not to marry him, and she did anyway. And he left that lady with $500,000 in debt, allegedly. And so when the father got sick, he came back supposedly, you know, to help. Mother gave him power of attorney. Then she sold her son the church and the properties for $1, which I'm just like. And by the way, there was a will. Brittany does say in the interview, there was a will. So not only did he take control of the church, he actually took away like the inheritance from the other siblings.
Right. Because
so if
he
they
used
really
the church.
They could sue their brother for not abiding by the will.
They should. He used the church and the word of God that he cloaks himself in to steal an inheritance from the rest of his siblings. Let me say to Miss Full Roller, she says, nope, it is not divine. But more importantly, why are the so-called elders allowing this? Because you got elders in the church who are also preying on the young as well in this church, allegedly. Is that correct or not? Because in the things that I read, they said that there's other men, the young ladies are being groomed so that the older men in the church can have their way with them. And you heard I played in some audio, and you've heard it already from the niece saying that it seemed like it's a cult type of thing in there where you leave school, you go to their school, they want you to be in their school, you leave that school and you work for the church. So you stay in the church, in this particular church, where they can continue indoctrinating you. And I'm not saying, folks, that all churches are like this, but this particular church, there's something going on.
And also, my friend told me that when the father, she left the church before Dwight Reed became the pastor. She literally grew up in this church. And she said that under the father, they were pressuring the actually young people to get married, or sometimes the younger ladies to get married. So she said that the single young ladies would get brought to the church, brought up in front of the church, and then he kind of would like tell the men like, okay, come up here and get your wife. And so like they were pressuring people to get married. And she said she was also pressured to get married to someone she didn't know either. And so there are people saying, oh, that's a lie. He did not pressure you to get married. But she's saying that because of the pressure from the church, saying, oh, it's better to marry than burn, you were looked at funny if you did not get married by a certain age. And so there was this like pressure conformity of things they have to do. So for her, it's not really surprising that, oh, your son got married to somebody in this church where the father had pressured other people in the church to get married to total strangers. And then the thing is, oh, if they didn't like it, they could leave. Well, if the church told you that, hey, this is your family, everything else out in the world is wrong. And if you leave the church, you can't talk to anybody in your own family or the church. Wouldn't you just stay in the church and just follow everything, what everyone else is doing? Because right now, that's what is happening. There have been other young people and other people like my friend, and other people who have left the church, and they now have to acclimate to being out in the world. Where do they go to church? What other friends do they have? How are they going to dress? Because also that church regulating what people were going to wear and where they're going to work. Not being able to like go to the movies, not being able to listen to certain music. So now that you left this church, where do you go? And that's why I had the video about religious trauma and trying to get them some help and some resources, because some of them are going to need therapy. Some of them are going to need medication because they now have anxiety,
right.
PTSD. I was reading one article that a lady said she left her church and started going to church with her husband and was having panic attacks in the church parking lot and didn't know why. And it was because it was reminding her of her previous environment. And so she had to go and get help for it.
But see,
and my friend, yeah.
Let me just say this to you real quick. What's a shame about this is that when this happens to young people like this, it damages their faith in God and their belief in the church. So now what happened because of this trauma, these young ladies will grow up and they will probably turn their back away from the church because of the post-traumatic trauma that they will have from the experience. And it will make them decide, I don't want to be a part of organized religion. I don't want to this and that. So you have men like Reed, who is the devil. See, the devil doesn't have red skin and horns, folks. The devil are people that are right here on earth that look like you, that talk a real good talk. And it's someone like Reed that ruins people's spirituality when they are able to get out of this situation. Now they're damaged. And let me read this from Miss Full Roller. She says this: unfortunately, many of these elders don't give a crap about young generation. They have and continue to throw the young generation under the bus. I would say this. I would say that there are those type of elders in that church that throw them under the bus. I wouldn't say all elders. These are the people. See, what we have to do, folks, is don't take the minimum and make it the maximum, and the maximum and make it the minimum. These are small groups of churches with black folks in these churches that are doing these sort of things. I don't want to indict the whole church, but this is what causes people to be skeptical of going to church on Sundays and being a part of a service like this. What are your thoughts? Let me see your transcripts.
There have actually been a couple of younger people who have spoken on Bishop Senegal, and shout out to Bishop Senegal. He has been doing this podcast called Unmuzzled, and I was trying to find the text number. If you text Cat Unmuzzled, I want to say it's 54244. You can get on like the group message alert, because he's also going to be getting more information. He's actually going to be going to Des Moines April the 13th, hopefully to talk to the DA there.
Yes.
To see about getting Bishop Dwight Reed investigated.
Right.
And there is another church there that he was welcome to come. They have actually been accepting former members of Christ Apostolic Church, Christ Apostolic Temple. By the way, his father, they used to be a part of what's called PAW, Pentecostal Assemblies of the World. His father broke away from the PAW and created their own network of churches called AO1, Apostolic Oneness Network. So then the father became the presiding bishop of this new collection of churches. Because everybody wants to be the king of the mountain. Inherited that position. And so there are actually other churches in this network who are also exhibiting this cultist behavior. I've also been hearing some things about one of their churches in Hannibal. There have been young people who have come to the bishops, because there's more than one bishop, and saying, hey, this is what's happening to us in the church. They have gone to him or another bishop, and basically they have not been listened to. They've been told that, hey, you need to listen to your elders. And what has happened, and they've talked about, being pressured to these tearing services, or they've talked about, molestation or rape. And some of these young people have left the church completely.
Right.
Because one, they were not listened to, they were victimized, and they just don't want to go to church anymore. And so for him to be in that pulpit saying, because he had another sermon last Sunday where he said,
Yeah.
"Oh, you guys are turning people away from the church." He's turning people away from the church.
See, but that's the manipulation of a guy like Reed. He has this authority as a bishop, and he's able to use the Bible, use the Word of God to twist the narrative to make it look like he is the victim. Let me read here. You talked about Bishop Synagog. Let me just read this for the people. Bishop Synagog is a pastoral counselor, everybody. He specializes in traumatic stress. He and a group of pastors, mental health professionals. See, there are pastors out here that are doing the right thing, folks. Mental health professionals and lay people have discussions in groups called the Safe House. And so basically he's doing exactly what you're talking about. He's trying to help people to recover from their post-traumatic stress and trauma of being in churches like this particular church that's run by someone like a Bishop Dwight Reed. I'm keep saying that word bishop because I need to emphasize that, because this is a man who's supposed to be a man of God.
That is his title. And this is the thing. Guess who? A lot of people kept asking, well, who would marry this man? Like, who married this woman to this woman? Guess what? His father had another minister who broke away from the AO1, right?
Yes.
Well, when the father died, that meant that pastor got back into the AO1 and now works with Dwight Reed. And guess what that man's position is now? He's the second presiding bishop. That's who married him to Jordan, the second man in charge of the organization. So the man who left came back, got basically a promotion, and married basically his superior to this young lady, to a teenager. We can say now she's 19, but she's still a teenager. Yes, she's grown, but I teach students who are 18 and 19 years old. They're either a senior in high school or they're first year in college. She's married to a 64-year-old man.
Right. Let me ask you this question before we conclude. Let me ask you this question, because I've been saying it all night. It seems obvious to me that this church must not have a young male presence. Obviously. Because, or if it does, the old men are pushing them to the side. And that is a problem that we have in the black community. Let me tell you why. You've seen this growing up. You have black men who are in leadership, and they will stay. You see it in other countries like in the continent of Africa, but they'll stay in power until they're 80 and 90 years old. They're holding on to power, and they never prepare another young black person, whether it be male or female, to take leadership. They'll hold on to leadership. Right. And then when they pass away, they leave a whole mess behind because they never prepared someone, a young person, for leadership, because we have old black men who want to hold on to power, and they don't want to pass anything down. And it seems to me that if you have older men in this church who are preying on the young girls in the church, where the hell is the young men? I'm talking about men that are in their 20s and their 30s. Where are they at?
There are some young men in the church, but like my friend said, if there are young men and young women in the church, they're also being said, hey, y'all should get married. Okay. I talked with Maurice McLean, who also was on my first live about this. And I believe he said he was 17 or I think 18, and his wife was 16. They were like high school sweethearts. And they were like getting that same message. Oh, it's better to marry than burn. It's better to marry than burn. They actually got married very young. Right. They were not the only ones, but they were, one of the few. But in other cases, it was young women being forced to marry complete strangers.
But see, this is the hypocrisy of it, though. Let me see your transcripts. Is that they're not pushing young men on the older women in the church. You don't see the older men. This is the hypocrisy of it all. Right. The older men that are running the church are not saying to the older women, won't you hook up? You see that boy over there? He's 15 years old. When he turned 18, go on and get him, marry him. You don't see them pushing that narrative, but they're pushing the narrative that that the older men have the cream of the crop of the younger girls, and for you younger men, okay, we're gonna get you with a younger girl or a girl close to your age, but we get the younger women, and the older women in the church, nah, we're not gonna promote you going after the young. And I'm not saying that they should either, but I'm saying you see the hypocrisy. The men are enjoying the fruits of what they're trying to do, which is despicable.
That's not to say that there are not, allegedly, that there's not older women or women in the church who are preying on the young boys.
Oh, we just don't hear about it. We don't hear about it.
And this is the thing. This whole process keeps reminding me about these Mormon fundamentalist cults. When you look at Warren Jeffs, Escaping Polygamy, reality show, they, like you said, these older men, they kick out the young guys because they're competition.
Right.
And
it's like the lion and the young
girl.
lion.
Or if the girls decide, oh, I want to marry this young boy, well, you and him got to leave because you can't stay here. You lost your family, you lost the church, you got to go get reacclimated to a whole nother existence where you were told that, hey, outside of this religious group, all those people are going to hell. And I'm just like, that's why these people have religious trauma. And really, religious trauma is a form of PTSD.
Right. It's post-traumatic syndrome, and they're being impacted by it day and night.
Angelica Diallo, like I would say just in the average Black church, regardless of denomination, there are women who are like, they aspire to be the first lady if that's what they want to do, or especially if the pastor is single. Okay. But there are other women who are not. There are other women who want to take the first lady's place. That's true. But this young lady allegedly was actually interested in another young man and was encouraged to leave him alone because he wasn't saved. And now look at where she is. Yes, she is the first lady. Her father's like, oh, my daughter is married to the presiding bishop. That's what he really is concerned with. Right. I don't think she was concerned with that.
Right. Let me say peace to a lady 747. Angelica RY. Everybody's giving some really good commentary in the chat room. We got Divine Life in the house. Miss Full Roller. I really would have liked to have gone live with this on Sunday. Sundays are usually my better days, and that's why I don't normally go live during the week. During the week is bad for me because most of the people that watch me, and I looked at my analytics, live in the eastern part of the country, in the central part of the country, where usually they're going to sleep. And that's why Sundays are usually better for me. And the reason why is because and I want you to check it out, I've got the Black Detox coming on with me this Sunday. We're going to talk about health and ways to cleanse your body. These brothers are very dynamic. I'm just going to sit back and let them do all the talking. They're the experts at what they're talking about. I think people are going to love the Black Detox. You're going to love these guys and what they have to say. And then, because if I didn't have them booked, I had already changed them from last week when I was talking about the situation that's happening down there in Memphis, Tennessee, with Mason, Tennessee. So if I had not had them booked already, I would have did this on Sunday instead. But I still need to do this and talk about this, because once I got into the story, I was like, this is madness. And it's also a shame that with all, we spend a lot of time talking about what white people are doing to us. And it's just like what my man George Makem said last week. We got people who look like us who are our enemies as well. It's unfortunate. We have people who look like us that are doing the job for those that we assume are the ones that are against us. No, we have people who look like us who are doing the job that they don't need to do anything, because we got people that look like us that will do harm to us as well. And this is a damn shame. And everybody, let me say this. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Because what has happened, and I talk to my friends sometimes about this, and sometimes we agree, sometimes we differ. What is happening is what we're seeing is this is black patriarchy at an extreme in a toxic environment. We have white patriarchy, which is the flip of that is white supremacy. So what has happened that in our own community, there are people who are subscribed or reinforce black patriarchy. Yes, the man should be the head of the household. That is in scripture. But when it's to the extreme that a minister or a pastor of your church is dictating someone's everyday life,
right,
as well as the members of his church, that is very much the extreme. When there are women who are going to the man of God and saying, "Hey, my husband is beating me," and they're not doing anything about it, and they're like, "Oh, well, don't beat her today." What about tomorrow?
Right. Give me one.
Stopping a man saying, "Hey, don't beat your wife," or you're forcing people to get married, or you telling them how they're supposed to dress. Oh, you can't watch TV. Oh, you can't go to the movies. You can't listen to certain music. This is to the extreme. A lot of people always want to say, "Look at Jim Jones' cult." Well, if you look at Jim Jones' cult, a lot of what he did, he modeled that himself after other black preachers. Most of him. Well, some of them.
I know that story well too well because I lived around it.
Members were black.
Right. But see, the thing that people don't understand about Jim Jones is that the reason why he was able to do what he did is because he got the blessing from the San Francisco. He was involved in San Francisco politics, involved with the board. A lot of people thought that he was a good doer.
Yeah, they thought.
And so he was able to. People looked the other way. Yeah, because he was a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Interacting with other black people, like
right. And then you're right. He watched what other black preachers were doing, but I hate to say this, I think that he was very effective because he had the Jesus effect. That was at a time when black people saw
leader.
Right.
I'm doing scripture. And they do in cults, and also narcissists did it too. They do this thing called love bombing. I love you.
But hear this part of what I'm saying.
And then when you don't do what they say, they withdraw that love.
Right.
And then so you feel like, oh, I need to do what they tell me to do so that I can keep that and have that.
Right. But keep this in mind. Where I was going with that is that a lot of black people grew up with the blue-eyed, blonde-eyed Jesus.
Right.
So when a white man took over a church, because you've been oriented that God is white,
right.
He was able to work his game that other black preachers had worked, but he worked it more effectively because black people were willing, once again, to believe that the white man's ice was colder than the black man's ice and follow him because we've been oriented that God is white. And so he said himself out of his own mouth, I am God. And black people were able to buy into it because they were being manipulated like a coat. He used to have those people up late at night. He would wake them out of their beds at night, knock on their doors and be preaching to them. The reason why I know this because I had friends who lost their family. I know the lady who's involved in the organization that they give a memorial to. I grew up around her son. So I know this stuff way too well. You're absolutely right. Let me say this. Damn. Bubba Rashad, are you still here? I would love to get your take on this, brother. If you are still here, Elder, I would love to get your take on this situation. So I will put a link in the chat room if you want to come up and say a few words. If not, I understand. It's probably late for you back there. Let me see if he's going to come up because I saw him come through the chat. Empress Queen, how you doing? I saw him come through, but he might have just came through for a minute. And he said peace. I don't know if he's gone or not. Thank everybody. Thank you for the super chats and everything like that. I appreciate the super chats tonight.
Thank you for the super chat.
And are you here, brother? Hey, can you click that? Hit that link, Elder. I want to hear your words tonight, and then I have to wrap this up. Hit that link and come on into the stream, Elder. I want to get your opinion on this.
Okay, I'll just go ahead and drop down. I'm sorry, Jay, that I'm.
Well, I appreciate you coming over. No, it's okay. because you've been following this case longer than I have. You have more information at your fingertips on this case, but I was able to put something together. And I think that I feel good about what I did with this stream, because the information I got from the niece and what I read, I was able to hit on some things that she resonated with and said was true, and the things that you talked about. The bottom line is this whole situation is one big mess, and it's embarrassing. I hate the fact that this is a black man that's done this, or anybody has done this. I really hate this, and I hate to see young people being taken advantage of, and people in the church being taken advantage of. And there are people in that church right now who are already have been damaged by this church, because there are people in that church that will wake up one day and realize I've been following the wrong pastor, the wrong church, and they're going to be angry and they're going to question their belief in God because of being involved in this mess.
And there have already been, when he took over, a considerable amount of people left. When he became the new pastor, there were people who left.
Okay, he's coming on board.
You are not allowed to talk to those people who left. And so when Jordan parents divorced, her mama left. She was not allowed to talk to her mom. And then there are other people who are still in that church too, that are not allowed to speak to members of their family.
Right. A lady 747 says, I don't think they're going to wake up. So here we have the man himself, Bubba Rashawn, the elder. Unmute yourself, brother.
Rashawn.
And look, brother.
You. I like your channel. Sorry.
No, that's
I'm
okay.
Fangirling right now.
He's got a great channel, big channel, a lot of folks over there. Hey, Bubba, the elder. It's been too long since we've collaborated and done some things, my brother, but I want to get your thoughts on this if you could even call him a damn preacher or a bishop, this Bishop Dwight, Reed, or whatever we're going to call this sucker. What are your thoughts about Dwight Reed in this Des Moines, Iowa, this Christian apostle, whatever the hell you call it, church he's got over there? He's running it like a cult, and he's preying on young girls. He married this young lady, Jordan, at 18 when she just turned 18, but he was already watching her at 14 and said that God told him that that was his wife. Gave her a car even at graduation, didn't give anybody else anything or his own family. He stole from his own family, has stole from the church. Man has been accused allegedly of molesting girls in other states. And this man claims to be a man of God. What are your thoughts, Bubba Rashawn?
Peace and love. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead. Let the people hear your thoughts.
Okay, peace and love to everybody in the chat room. Did you get that? I sent you a Cash App. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Let me check that out. I appreciate that. I didn't know. Sometimes I forget to check my Cash App, but I appreciate that, Elder. I'll check that out. Go ahead. I want to hear your thoughts about this man. And let me see right here. Thank you for that super chat or that Cash App, brother.
You are listening to information.
Hit that right there for you.
Thank you for the super
and thank
chat.
you again for that. I appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that. Okay. All right, Elder. What are your thoughts about this this predator in the church?
It's sad. I don't know. This world, this all messed up. But I see a lot of people making petitions about it. He's dead wrong. Not no child. I mean, if he was grooming her from 14 years old, that's pedophilia.
Yes.
I mean, if he wanted a young woman, you should have got him a 35, 40-year-old woman. That's
right. And check this out, Pastor. He's been married 3 times. This is 4th wife. Her father is a minister and he approved of it, but the mother did not. And she was very upset. And she ended up divorcing him or leaving him. He had the nerve to counsel them while at the same time having an eye on the 14-year-old. She was 14 when he was 59 years old. Do the math. He waits till she's 18, right? And then I'm going to put this picture back up again. The family believes that he impregnated her You can see a little bump in the stomach. The
Yeah, I
family
saw
and
it.
his niece believe that he impregnated her, and he might have gotten married quickly so that if they were to go to court, she couldn't testify against him and be questioned about when did he impregnate you? What age were you? You see what kind of fox we got in the hen house?
Right. But another thing that people gonna sign petition, but a lot of people might not like what I'm about to say. But the state of Iowa, go look it up. The age of consent, it's 15 or 16 years old.
Right. And also,
So
there's a
how
lot.
the white folks is, they
Right.
do shit like that naturally. That's
Right.
That's their thing.
And
But
if you look at laws in every state, Elder, there's actually states that still have on the book that you can marry someone 16, 17. But the question is, just because you can marry someone that age, is it the right thing to do, especially if you are a man of God?
It's not the right
And you've
thing to do for
been
nobody.
preying on the child since they were 14 or younger. I believe he's been looking at her before even 14.
It's not right for no man, not even a preacher, for a man to be messing with children.
That's the truth. Tell the truth on that one.
Tell the truth.
If he wanted a young woman, he should have got him a 35, 40, 45-year-old woman. That ain't bad for a man that age.
Baba Rashan. He was allegedly engaged to another woman about a month or a couple of months before Jordan, who was in her 30s. And he said, God said it's going to be my wife. Then a couple months later, you said, oh, God said Jordan's going to be my wife. Then got up in his pulpit and said, oh, I've been waiting 4 years on her. And I'm just like, wait a minute. And then that sermon video got deleted. And I guess nobody was able to capture it. And my friend told me I had the ages wrong, but it's still bad to me. Jordan turned 18 2 weeks after she graduated in June 2020. So this year, back in November, when they got married, she's actually 19.
Okay.
Still a teenager.
And that was this is the actual picture at her graduation.
Yeah, that's June 2020.
And out of all the students in the graduating class, he decided to give her a car. The niece that I played that was on Sticks and Stones said that he's never done that for any of his blood relatives.
No, none of them.
So, for him to give her a car, that tells me that the man has been watching her and probably having some interlude with her even before that graduation and for some years.
And
Something's been going on longer than we may know.
And allegedly they went out on dates with I guess witnesses or chaperones, which I'm just like, before they got married. And I'm just like, why would you even need that? But still, it don't sound right.
Yeah, it doesn't sound right at all. Okay, we have another guest on Lion that's here. Do you have any words you'd like to say, sir?
Yeah, I agree that I think I don't agree with it, but at the same time, the woman is legal. But at the same time, I don't agree with it. I mean, 18 years old, really, it's legal, but at the same time, she's still a girl. But at the same time, around the world, people marry, dudes marrying girls that young and stuff like that. In some cultures, if a woman starts whatever age of menstrual period they consider a woman in different cultures, even some cultures in Africa. But the thing is, but I still think that I still don't agree with it. But at the same time, people have a problem with this stuff. When we got like dudes marrying dudes and all this putting we call this trans stuff as kids, putting hormone kids and stuff in kids and stuff. So it comes down to what the people want to accept at the end of the day. It's like, the culture here, the Babylon culture in America, it's like anything goes, you know what I'm saying? So, people want to push the line, right? The culture here in America is like pushing the boundary. gender bending, like what you know what I'm saying? So to me, it's just a product of like anything goes. So like, oh well, if they go, a dude can do a married woman, oh well, I should be able to marry this, you know. So oh well, I should be able, you know what I'm saying? So to me, I think it's just crazy.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying about the gender roles, but that's for another show, my brother. I understand where you're coming from with that, but for this situation, see, this is the thing. This is what we do a lot. We know that somebody is doing something in our community that's not right. And then we'll say, well, let's go look at what they're doing over here. Look, we ain't white folks. We ain't these other folks. These folks that do what they want to do, they know who they are. Black folks, we are some of the most, we're some of the most people who don't even know who we are, where the hell we come from half the time. We subscribe to this, subscribe to that. We as a people need to hold ourselves to a higher standard, no matter what society says is okay. No matter what society says is okay, doesn't mean that we don't hold one of our own accountable when they're doing something that's not right, even if we know that there's some funny things going on over here, which I don't agree with either. But we still have to hold, because if we don't hold each other accountable, who the hell is going to hold us accountable? That's what a community is supposed to be for. And the reason why I'm making a big deal out of this and people are making a big deal out of this is because this is a man who's supposed to be a man of God. And on all accounts from his family, there's something weird going on in that church. In all accounts, this is not like I know she's 18 years old. And in some states in this country, you can get married to someone that, very young because they have laws on the books. But the way he went about getting her attention and the things that he did, being that he is a man of God, supposedly, whatever that is these days, it just doesn't set well, especially when he has a history of multiple marriages, bad relations with his own two daughters. Oh, he robbed the very church that he's in. He's been in and out of jail for robbing, stealing money from his own family. Oh, he's also, did I mention, brother, has been allegedly accused of molestation of girls in other states. So when I I'm not saying you are, but what I'm saying is when you examine his background, I think that's what brings a heavier value to really examining what's going on here with this situation, right?
And I think that sometimes these people that are toxic like that, they'll get positions of power, right? These people that are that are their character, they have these shady characters. And, their intentions are sometimes not the best. Sometimes they get in they become a politician, they get into ministry, they'll become whatever, right. some power of authority and stuff like that. They'll allow them to get away with stuff. So, so the guy definitely, something is definitely off about the dude, and something is like, something is not right about the guy. So that's no doubt.
Right. And we know there's something, well, let me say this before I end the program. It has come out, and let me see, your transcripts can vouch for this. There's a coalition of other bishops and preachers that are now saying they are against Reed, that they see the hypocrisy when they look at what he's been doing. Now, you would ask yourself, where were these Negro preachers at before when this man was doing all this stuff for a long time? You know how people like to come out after the fact?
Yeah. But
before people start looking at what they're doing too. Oh, let's call him out to take attention from ourselves. I don't know if that's the case, but what I'm saying is he's been doing this for a while, and you can't tell me, not that you're saying this, that even the preachers that are now coming out against him didn't know or have a feeling that something was going on peculiar with this guy. Elder, I want to give you let me see your transcript, have the last words tonight. Elder, give us your thoughts before I conclude, my brother. And thank you for coming on with us too, Brother Lion. And if are you new to the channel, or have you been following this channel for some time?
No, I've been following you probably since 2017.
I appreciate you, brother. I give you a clap. And don't get me wrong. I understand he married her and she was of legal age. We get that. But then there's another question I want to throw to you right here, real quick, before I go to the elder. The family members, and I played that tonight, the niece and other people in her family are saying that they believe that he might have impregnated her before she was of legal age. That's allegedly. I'm going to say it again, allegedly, because of photographs and things of that nature. I'm going to just put that in your thoughts if you didn't hear me say that earlier tonight. Elder, give us your not your last thoughts, but your thoughts as we conclude tonight. And let me see your transcript. Give us the ending for the night.
Well, everything he did is wrong. It's no good.
Mm-hmm.
It is. And another thing, what a lot of people don't talk about, they got a lot of women. I see this shit in the hood messing with young boys.
Yeah, you got women messing with boys. Let me see your transcript. She brought that up too tonight. You got women that are messing with boys too. Both sides, it don't make a right. Both sides is wrong. Both sides is wrong. Mm-hmm.
It's wrong. Regardless of the law. If a man if an older man want a young woman, like I say, 45, 30, 35, 45, 50, even a woman 50 years old, she keep herself up. They ain't old.
Yeah. I think within reason, I just think personally, like I'm 52 years old, and at my age right now, I don't have anything in common with a woman in her as 18. We have nothing in common. I've grown up in a whole different era, different time. My values are different. I know why men tend to want younger women, because you look at their ability to have family and babies, and you like the fact that they're young, and it makes you feel good as a man to have something cute on your arm when you're going out, of age. I'm saying of age. So I don't want nobody getting it twisted here, but I know for myself personally, 18 years old, even at my age, and he's even older than me, is just not what I want. Exactly. The generations today are just on a whole different level that I'm not feeling to be with someone of that age, personally.
Yeah, it'll make sense. It just looks foolish to me.
All right, my man. Thank you. Giving you that clap, that love. All right. Elder, I appreciate you coming up.
Peace and love to everybody in the chat room.
Yeah, you great, man. We're gonna, Elder, we gotta do it again. Me and you gotta do a show together because there's a lot to talk about. Let me see your transcripts. You've been very patient. I want you, and thank you, Brother Lion, for coming up, and thank you for supporting the channel all the way back to 2017, brother. I appreciate you coming up and giving your statements. I appreciate that. And a clap to you again. Man. All right, there he is. Thank you.
I say, but like what you said about the double standard about the women doing it, man, I think the difference is that I think the men are not seen as victims. Like, you have little boys, grown woman doing all that type of stuff. So I think it is a double standard with that, man.
Yeah, it is a double standard because if women we've seen it, women get caught with boys, they don't tend to go to jail or do heavy time like men. There have been women that have gone to jail, but they don't do heavy time. But a part of the problem is, let's just be honest. Let's be honest here. Boys don't tend to tell and run home and say, hey, I got touched by a female teacher. Let's be honest. Sometimes, and I'm not justifying this as right, but men in general, we don't go and report that we were groped or mistreated by a female. Hell, we don't even want to report that we were groped by someone of the same sex. I mean, look at Terry Crews, and we already know what he's about. He let a man grope him, that movie, executive or whatever, who went to, I think he's in jail or whatever the hell they did with him. He let a man grope him right in front of his wife. Right in front of his wife. And we talk about Will Smith this week. If anybody should have been throwing some punches, it should have been Terry Crews. throwing some punches when a man touches them in his private areas. It's crazy. It's just like you said, we're living in a Babylon. Let me see your transcripts. You want to take us home with your closing statements?
I wanted to add that yes, she's legal when he married her, but with the petition, they're asking the DA there, and then possibly the Iowa Attorney General to look at it too, is that in Iowa, a person, if they're in charge of a school, they are not supposed to get in a relationship with someone who is a student. So if she was the dean of her church school and he's giving her a car at 18, well, actually, when she graduated, she was 17. Her birthday was 2 weeks later. But he said when he married her, when he was 19, I've been waiting on her 4 years. So it means you were looking at her at 15, sir. Okay, so what? And you were supposed to be counseling her because she was having a hard time dealing with her parents' divorce.
Right. So what he did was unethical.
Illegal.
It was unethical
because
because
you're getting into a relationship with someone who is a student you're in charge of. And I do believe, as far as people who are in counseling, I don't think if you're a counselor, you're supposed to be getting involved with patients or someone you're counseling. So he definitely needs to be investigated for that.
Right. You're right about that, because he used his position as authority.
And then married this girl once she was legal.
Right. He used his position, like you said, of authority, plus being a pastor of the church. He had double power. If you think about it, he's the leader of the church and the leader of the school. Double power.
Right.
And then you got to ask yourself this too. See, this is what I mean when I was talking about old black men. No disrespect to the elder, but you got older black men like this pastor who hold on to power. Why couldn't he had picked someone else to be in charge of the school from afar? You know what I'm saying? So that he wouldn't have this conflict of interest. To me, something about that doesn't make sense. You're the pastor of the church. You're the dean of the damn school.
Yeah, because normally churches, or at least the ones here that I know of, that have a charter school or even affiliate with the school, there is a usually an educational professional.
Yeah, he's not an educational professional
who is hired to be the head of the school.
Yes,
so yeah.
I don't know his full educational. I mean, I got some church history here on this place. I didn't even talk about this church. His bishop, Jeremiah Reed, founded, and Dr. Willie May Reed Christian Apostle Temple was founded by preceding bishop. That's his father. I don't want to read anymore. I don't even want to read this disgusting mess.
Degree, Lord rest her soul. Her degree was a church degree. It's a degree you only can use in the church world.
Right. But I'm saying he doesn't have the background to be Look, the whole thing is a mess, and it's giving me a headache right now. Just continuing to think about this. It's crazy. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to follow this story and see how this comes out in the wash. What do you think is going to happen in the end with this whole thing? Because you got preachers coming out against them now. You got a petition, which I'm going to put in the chat room one last time for people to go. If you want to sign on the petition, thechange.org. What do you think is going to come out in the wash with this? Let me see your transcripts.
I'm hoping and praying and hopefully that he is investigated. I'm hoping that the young lady can get out of that church, get with her mother, hopefully annul this marriage.
But this is the problem. Man. This is the problem, though. Let me see your transcripts.
But that's also considering how much influence that he has over, because she doesn't even have social media.
Right, but let me just hold you up right a minute. This goes to what Lion was talking about. This is where this is going to be the problem. If she's even though we know that she's not of full mature age, because your brain does not fully develop until after 25 years of age. People need to understand that. You're still operating off of an adolescent's brain, even though they say in the law that she's legal by 18. But because she's 18 years old, I'm going to be honest with you, it's going to be very difficult for her family to tell her what to do and to steer her away if she's truly in love with this man, if she is, because if she's 18, she doesn't need her parents' consent, really, technically, and they don't see her as a minor. So the police ain't going to arrest them. They're going to say, ma'am, she's married to the man. We can't move her. So the family is really going to have a hard time unless she admits to them that she really ain't in love with this man and that she really don't like him. Unless she admits to all of that, they're going to have a hard time pulling her away from him because she is seen as an adult in this society. And she's now seen as a married woman. So the family technically doesn't have any legal, that is, in this world we live in, third dimension, legal rights to tell her to take her away from her husband, even though we may not agree with how they got together. So
That's
this is a tough one.
But I guess what I'm hoping is that through the investigation, there may be an avenue, a way for her to at least get with her mother, who she has not been able to have contact with, because right now she's secluded. She's in this church. She's the first lady. Her dad is the minister of music. So everybody around her is encouraging her to stay in this marriage. She's first lady. But if she did not want to get married, literally the day before she got married, and her father has to encourage her to get married, did she really want to get married?
That's a good point. Let me just say something. Angelica, did you send me a message? You're making a very good point. Angelica, are you talking about did you send me a message to my Instagram, the Information Man Show Instagram, or the Info Media one? And by the way, make sure y'all subscribe to the Info Media, because I'm dropping all types of information on this whole thing called content creation, building YouTube channels, and different tips. I'll be dropping 2 to 3 videos a week on that channel. So make sure you subscribe to the Info Media Live channel. You'll see it in the page on my first page. You click down, click the avatar on the first page here, and it'll take you right to that page. I'm trying to see if she left me a message, and I don't see the message.
Also going to mention that
I'm sorry about that.
There are ministers who left, I guess their affiliation with Dwight Reed once he took over.
Okay.
But some of them most likely, and I think Bishop Senegal is on his clubhouse, and I have not spoken out against him because he probably knows information about them. And you saw how, if you look at his first sermon about his marriage, and then this last sermon he did, which was 52 minutes of, it was worse than the first one. He starts airing out his critics, including former members of his church, business. He probably knows the business of these other ministers too. And they're probably afraid, like, oh, if I speak out against him, he's just going to tell all my business in the pulpit in his next sermon. So there actually might be more people who are now on board of speaking out, because they now see, like, oh, there are other people who thought the same way as I do. Maybe I can now join them, or, safety in numbers. But there are probably some who are not saying anything because they're afraid that he's going to air their business out in the pulpit.
He might end up doing that. You just never know. So, I'm trying to find something here. I really appreciate what you're saying. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end this tonight. And Angelica, once I end the program, I can best look at your message, because I don't see the message right now. Let me do this. Damn it. I should have kept her name up. Let me spell that correctly. Put P R. Give me 1 minute here. I just want to see if I can see what she might have sent me. And I don't see that yet. And then we got, okay. Hang on for a minute. A. And maybe that will pull up the name that she's under on here. I'm going to have to take time. I'll just send you a message. I'll have to end the program so I can focus on the Instagram and find the message that you sent me. And then I'll respond back to the DM that you left me as well. So anyway, with that said, I want to thank everybody again for coming upstairs. Thank you. The Elder. Lion, let me see your transcript. We'll have to do it again. And we'll see what else comes down the pipeline. I will be on this Sunday at my normal time. I've got the Black Detox coming over, and we're going to talk about Black health and how we can cleanse our body, cleanse our soul, our spirit, our minds, proper diet. And these brothers are deep. I'm looking forward to them on the show, and I think you will get a lot out of it. So come on over to that show this upcoming Sunday. Share this video. I think this is important to get the word out further and further about this issue. Share the video on your social media. And I want to say good night to everybody and thank you. Take care. And Elder, keep doing your thing, my brother. Keep doing your thing.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you. I appreciate you all coming up. And everybody in the chat room, we got RY, A Lady747, Marcella Muhammad is in the house. Miss Full Roller's in the house. Everybody is I really appreciate everybody's time. I don't normally go live during the week like this. I'm more of a weekend type channel, the way my channel works. But it is what it is. We got to get these stories out whenever we find the time. So take care, everybody. Peace to you. Peace, Elder. Peace, Lion. Appreciate everybody in there. This has been great. And so there was the Elder that was on with me, came up and let me see your transcript, came up to do her thing. And I really appreciate the Elder for dropping by. Me and him have done some shows in the past. And he's got a huge channel over there, a lot of support. He tells it like it is. He tells the truth.
Tell the truth.
And he's truly someone on YouTube who doesn't care about how you feel about it. He's going to say it on his mind, what's on his mind. He doesn't give a damn. Bishop Reed should be ashamed of himself for taking advantage of a situation of a young girl that he's been watching and grooming, as people are saying, allegedly, for a number of years. The man does not exemplify a man of God. He's in his church screaming and yelling and talking about how everybody is the devil. Everybody is this. But the funny thing about it is that the people in his church don't realize that Bishop Dwight Reed is the devil. See, we've been conditioned when we grew up in this country to believe that the devil has horns and red skin. You know, the stuff that you see in movies and comic books, things that make you go boop in the night. But no, the devil is actually people like Bishop Dwight Reed. They are people who have skin, eyes, hair, all the regular things that we recognize that we see on everyday people. The devil can be black. The devil can be white. The devil can be Latin, Asian. The devil can be any color, any race, any creed. The devil is manifested in the way people go about doing horrible things to society, horrible things to kids, horrible things to women, horrible things to men. Men and boys are preyed upon as well. So the women that prey upon boys are also devils themselves as well. A man who would call him a son of God, a bishop who would call himself a man of God, who has a history of robbing the church and his own family of their own inheritance, can truly not be a man of God. Yet he says to you and me that God gave him a message. Like God called him up on a cell phone and said, you know, Bishop Reed, we got this a young lady that I want you to get with. Keep an eye on her, 14 years old. This is what Reed did. Hiding behind the church, cloaking himself in the Bible by justifying his actions. And then you wonder why there's a lot of people walking around who don't want to go to church. They don't want no part of church. And then you wonder why, I'm going to say this again for emphasis, why when you look at most churches, most black churches on Sunday, you see many, many women.
Tell the truth.
And very little men. And particularly very little young men. You may have old men there, but you don't have very many young men. In general, there are churches like this across the country. Not all, but some. Ask yourself in the chat room as you get ready to leave this channel tonight, why do you have so many churches where you have so little young men in the churches that are leading the church, that are in charge of something? Why didn't Reed put a young, up and coming young man or woman in charge of the school? Why did Reed have to be in charge of the school? I'll tell you why. I'm going to say this allegedly. I believe personally and allegedly that he wanted to be in charge so that he could have further access to this right here. There it is.
Tell the truth.
To the females. Because he already had a history of marrying 3 other women before marrying her, and a history of being accused allegedly of molesting females in other states. Manipulating his mother's will, as let me see your transcript said that actually there was a will that he manipulated from his own mother. God rest her soul. She's not here with us. Come to find out his father his father didn't approve of him and his actions and behavior because the father had to boot him out because he robbed from the church. Now you see him on that picture with that blue suit on with yellow looking tie, looking dignified, looking like he's a man of purpose, a man of God. Don't let the fancy dress fool you because the devil wears suits. See, we've been culturally conditioned that the devil is red with horns and it's a little pointy tail. No, the devil wears a suit. A devil can wear a dress too. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep it 100% real with you.
Tell the truth.
The devil can wear a suit. The devil can wear a dress. A devil can be any person of any race, any creed or color of any religion. The devil can be. When we grew up and we said the devil speaks with a forked tongue, Reed speaks with a forked tongue, the things that he said in his speeches. See, this is why we've got to get out of the gender fighting, because black people on YouTube, we've got devils like Reed that you should be exposing that are doing real damage to the community. And let me say this before someone makes this indictment, because I know there's someone out there that's going to say, but see, because Reed did that, he sets all black men back. He sets all black preachers back. No, he doesn't. Just because Reed did this is not an indictment on all black men. Just because Will Smith went up there and punched Chris Rock is not an indictment on all black men. It is this black man that is despicable, not all black men. It is this particular black man that leads this church that's despicable. Not all churches are operating like this, but the ones that do are despicable. And certainly there are those out there that run like this. So I want to keep that in mind, that he is not an example, because I know that you're going to have people on these YouTube streets that will use the Dwight Reed situation to say, this is what black men are. No, this is what Dwight Reed is. This is not what black men are. This is what this sucker is. It's what he's made of, not all of us. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say, have a great night. I appreciate you all. Thank you for coming through.
Tell the truth.
Take care.
Tell the truth.
Appreciate everybody coming over tonight. Take care. He does not represent all black men, but he is a man who is a snake in the grass, in my opinion.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Thank you for the super chats tonight as well, everybody. I appreciate it. Peace.
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Tell the truth.
channel.
Thank you again, everybody, for coming through. And I hear you, RY. You said my brother would have clapped someone into next week, chopped someone into next week. I get that. It is a shame. We're going to keep our eye out on this and make sure you check out Let Me See Your Transcripts channel. Make sure you take a look at the Sticks and Stones channel. And I want to say a shout out to Janice Hilton out there. She has a great channel as well. She put a really good piece together about this, as well as Let Me See Your Transcripts as well. Check these folks out to keep yourself up to date on any of the breaking news. If there's anything that breaks out of this, I will go live and talk about it too, as many of us will when anything breaks out. So once again, folks, I'll be back on Sunday, taking a break. Tomorrow I'm going to relax and just chill. I will drop another video on the Info Media channel. Make sure you check out Info Media channel. That's very important. And if you want to find that quickly, just stroll down the bottom of my Information Man page and you will see the logos that have the other channels that I have. Subscribe to that channel, because if you are a content creator or someone who's thinking about doing content or just social media in general, I'm going to give you a lot of pearls of wisdom, a lot of information about how things work behind the scenes that you may not be aware of that can actually help and boost your channel. Another thing that I'm learning, and I'm going to be doing a video about this on that channel, is that a lot of the top guys on YouTube who talk about YouTube strategies are saying that when now live streams are different. You notice when I go live, I'll play music, but when you're going to upload a video that you want people to watch that video through, when it's an upload, you really want to take out these intros, because they're finding that you're getting a drop off in your watch time when people get turned off by the intro, or they don't watch the whole video because they're watching your intro, which is taking up time from them getting to your content. So they're saying it's more about getting right into the content right away. Now, when I looked at my analytics on the new channel, which is a new channel, it's going to take time to grow that channel. You know, the numbers are not super big right now, but all those videos that I created are all evergreen, meaning they will always be videos that people can access. It's not going to be a trending story that will die out and nobody's going to access it anymore. Those videos could blow up, grow over a period of time that I'm making. But one of the things I'm learning looking at my analytics, and I'll be doing a video about how to really study your analytics, is that in my analytics, I can look at the cutoff point of when people in the video. And I'm telling you, even though the views are still kind of small right now, the watch time statistics are higher. I'm seeing higher retention because I'm not wasting my time with intros, music. I'm just saying what the channel's about. I'm getting right into the topic. And the sweet spot for YouTube when you're doing uploads is to have, I should say this for a video so that you watch it, but I'm going to tell you anyway, because I'm going to still do that video and I still want you to watch it because I'll put other things in that video. The sweet spot for uploading pre-produced videos is you want the videos to be between 8 and 12 minutes. 8 and 12 minutes is the sweet spot. You're going to get a higher retention rate with people that will be willing to watch an 8 to 12 minute video. And then you get out of there. Depending on what type of content you're making, of course, certain content, you need more time than just that. But when I'm talking about when it comes to uploading videos, you will see your retention rate go up if you cut intro music and all that out in the beginning. The intro music that people put in their YouTube channels when they do uploads is going to become a thing that's not sachet anymore. And there's guys on YouTube that are looking at the numbers. I'm noticing the numbers myself and I'll probably do a video about that very soon. Take care, everybody. Peace and love.
Tell the truth.
Take care.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.